And we're back and we're live. Thank you guys so much for being here. Garland Farms over to my direct left, Vegan Gaze and Nick above. Vegan Gaze, I'm actually not seeing your camera for
I
some
yeah, I
reason.
don't know why that's happening. It was working. Uh,
Yeah, not sure exactly what's going on.
no,
Now,
I would.
all that great intro, banging music, all this just to roll out the
I'm
red carpet.
sorry.
No picture,
No,
right?
look,
No
I'm gonna
picture.
fix it. Okay, I'm gonna fix
All
it right
right,
now.
all right, we're good. We're good.
What was? I just don't understand. Oh, hello.
We got it. We got
Okay.
it. All right. So go ahead, Vegan Gaze Ellie. Why
Okay.
don't you introduce yourself, briefly tell us what you're about, and we'll take it from there. Go ahead.
My name's Elle. I'm also known as Vegan Gaze. And yeah, I just talk about veganism and maybe annoy people. I don't know, but that's my introduction.
Can you do me a favor? Do you have a garden?
Do I have a very small one?
Yeah. Can you like I don't know, put like jalapenos and shit in a basket and then send it to Chris? You just send it. I think it'll make Chris feel better about his lot in life that he can't experience the bliss that is the Crucible chat because he pissed me off right in the beginning. Nick, go ahead, take a minute, tell everybody where they can find you a little bit about what you're about.
Yeah. So you can find me on social media on Twitter mostly and YouTube. Both are under the name The Nutrivore with no space, no underscore or anything like that. And basically, I don't know what to call myself. Probably just close to maybe a nutrition science communicator. I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes I talk about veganism. Sometimes I talk about empirical topics in nutrition. Sometimes I'm just a dick to people. I don't know.
I mean, I enjoy that. I'm going to hold you to the fact that you said that. By the way, Garland Farms. It's nice to see you back, Mr. Farms, back right here on the Crucible. I'm sure you've been out there farming your ass off. I bet your hands have blisters on them, don't they?
Calluses.
Yeah, callus. Nick, do your hands have blisters on them, Nick?
Like calluses?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly from like drumming and playing guitar.
Oh, well, playing guitar is based. All right. Well, that one fell flat, but I thought it was funny anyway. Mr. Farms, go ahead, tell everybody where they can find you. A little bit about yourself briefly.
You can find me on YouTube at the Garland Farms channel, and I'm a farmer in Central Texas. I raise mostly Spanish goats, Spanish and Boer goats. We've kind of been getting out of the cattle business because the cattle have been under such strenuous attack, and hopefully I won't light a fire by telling people that the goats aren't under attack yet. But I'm sure as soon as I mention that, then the vegans will certainly begin to target goat farmers. But yeah, I'm here in Central Texas, goat farmer, anti-vegan. I have an anti-vegan channel, and it's Garland Farms. That's it.
All right. Appreciate that very much. Now, when I got the proposal for this originally, I was thinking about it, and I don't think it's fair. I've never thought it's fair to do a 2v1. I did have Jim Bob available to come in and assist on the Garland Farm side so that we have a fair debate going across the board, which I think is completely reasonable. Is there any objections to that?
Yeah, just to be clear, when I spoke to Garland, he said he didn't need a partner, so this is unexpected, but absolutely fine. Only
Okay,
fair.
great. Nick, any problem there?
I don't have any objection, no.
Okay, great. Awesome. Jim Bob, go ahead with your introductions. Tell everybody where they can find you, a little bit about what you're about.
Hi, I'm Jim Bob. I have a YouTube channel made by Jim Bob where I talk about a bunch of stuff and open it up to panel. That's currently taken down for a week. And I'm on Instagram, made by Jim Bob. And yeah, I love discussing this stuff. I like debating and I like talking to people.
Now, Jim Bob, you've been a bad bear. You got your channel full for a week.
Mhm.
Bad bear. All right. I already see there's somebody spurging in the chat. They're like, no, make it unfair. Make it as unfair as you can. I just can't bring myself to do it. I think you got a fair spread here. Looking forward to this debate very, very, very much. And then we got the vegans on the left. Which side would like to open? Would you like the carnivore side to open or vegan side?
Who are you asking?
I'm either side. Which one would you
I
like
guess
to
I
open?
could start because it started
Okay.
between, yeah. So sorry, by the way, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here, so I have
Oh
to be
no,
a
you're
bit
good. You're
quiet.
good.
And I'm
You're
very
on Australian time, right?
no UK.
Oh, UK time. Okay,
Yeah.
well that's good. You're a real person.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead whenever you're ready.
So yeah, for some backstory, Garland commented on one of my videos, or should I call you Mr. Farms, saying that people had told him to come destroy me in a debate. And I said, okay, let's get into Zoom. If he said he wanted to go on the Crucible, so I said, okay, well, you know, if we're going to do it, let's have partners. He said he didn't need a partner, but now you have one, so it's fair. And Garland agreed to the following proposition. Vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. So I'm just here with Nick today to witness Garland defend his proposition.
Okay, and Nick, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, with your opening statement.
Oh, yeah, I guess the first thing right out the gate is I just need like a little bit of clarity about a couple things. Is the proposition basically just like a hypocrisy critique or a hypocrisy objection? Like vegans are saying that they value one thing and then their actions are in contradiction to those values or are in opposition to those values? Is that basically the idea? Garland?
Well, Nick, we went over this pre-show and you agreed. I'm not sure what that was about, but to reiterate what we've already gone over, Nick, what I'm saying is that the crop agriculture, the mainstream crop agriculture that everyone relies upon, including vegans, all vegans, you don't find vegans buying only organic food. In fact, most of the very high profile vegan influencers preach to their congregation to avoid organic because organic relies upon livestock manure. And so I am saying, and I know this to be a fact, that crop agriculture, mainstream crop agriculture, is much more harmful to the environment and much more damaging and deadly to the animals. Mostly, of course, wild animals, which vegans mock. They mock those deaths. They say crop deaths, though, and they make fun of it. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the ways that crop agriculture destroys the environment and kills animals and drives suffering of animals exponentially. So get ready, Nick.
Well, wait a second. I don't think I actually got an answer to my question. Is this particular proposition?
If you want to call it the hypocrisy thing, then you go ahead. I'm not playing your game, Nick.
Okay, wait.
I just told you what this was about.
Okay, wait. So the proposition that you originally opened with, like basically you're just saying that vegans value one thing and they're doing another?
No, Nick, I just explained it to you. You're trying to reword my proposition.
Well, wait, let's go over the proposition.
Hang on, gentlemen. Jim Bob, do you think maybe you could bring a little clarity in?
It sounds like instead of the word hypocrisy, Nick, maybe that your entire position would be arbitrary. And if it wasn't arbitrary, you'd have to present an ethical system, a meta-ethical system, to determine what is and isn't ethical. And then Garland Farms here would probably follow through with his argument, showing that whatever your position is, how unethical it is to eat meat, that he would show it's more unethical to eat, to just do veggie farming and kind of ignore the animals altogether.
Well, wait a second. I'm not here defending a position. I'm here.
You don't have a position in a debate?
Yeah, well, hang on.
No,
hang on.
that's not.
No, wait.
That's not how I'm interpreting this. That's not how I'm.
What are
going
you here
about
to
this.
do?
Well, a proposition was put on the table. I'm calling it into question.
That's what happened in my comment
That's what's
section.
happening here.
Yeah. So
this is the problem with the vegans is they don't want to get their head wrapped around the actual destruction caused by their diet. So what they want to do is they want to come on a debate channel and play games, play dirty debate.
Do a debate.
Well, wait a second.
You've
So
made a proposition.
you put a proposition on the table,
Yeah.
and I'm
And,
calling
you,
it
and
into
now you're
question.
rewording it. We've already agreed on a proposition, and now you're trying to hedge me into a corner and putting that into your words. And Nick, it's not going to happen, my friend.
Well,
Nick,
wait a second.
Nick-
Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. When the proposition reads, vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. How am I to interpret that if not to mean that vegans are being hypocrites in some way? Unless you have a different way of unpacking this.
I'm not going to unpack it that way. I'm
Well,
not
if you're not
going
going to give me
I've
additional
already
clarity,
said
then
it
there's
in
nothing to
my
debate.
words, and you agreed to those words.
vegan.
And now you're trying to derail the debate in the very beginning. And Nick, I'm telling you again, it's not going to happen. Back off.
Well, hang on a second, Garland. What were you saying, Jim Bob?
I was going to ask if Nick or vegan gays is your essential position, at least at some point, that veganism is more ethical than non-veganism, than carnism, or you just have no position?
It's not so much that we don't have a position. It's just that a proposition was put on the table. So I'm just waiting to hear him substantiate this.
So but your position is that there is no standard for
I'm not
ethics.
I'm not giving my position right now. I'm not giving my position. He has made a proposition. Burden of proof is on him to substantiate it. It's kind of, I don't know what is the confusion here.
So what do you need clarification on then?
Yeah, I just want to know how I'm to interpret the proposition, right? How am I to interpret this if not some kind of claim against vegans and the particular critique being that vegans are hypocrites in some way?
Why is it that you want to bring this hypocrite word into the debate? You're
I'm
very
not
dead set on that. I'm curious.
No, I'm not sure what the proposition's referring to, if not hypocrisy. I mean, that's up to you to clarify.
You've already agreed to a proposition, and I never used the word hypocrisy.
Hang on, let's
Why
be
aren't you
clear.
trying to change the proposition,
hang on.
Nick?
I'm not trying to change it. I'm
He's
asking
trying
for
to get
clarification.
clarity. Yeah, he's allowed to get clarity, isn't he?
Shouldn't you have asked for clarification before you agreed to come on the debate, Nick?
Well, I'm asking for clarification now. Is there a problem?
No, I'm telling you, you don't wait until the show starts to ask for clarification. You ask for clarification before the debate starts. Why are you trying to play this game, Nick?
Wait. Well, I'm asking for clarification now.
Why didn't you ask for? How long have we been preparing for this?
Well, to be clear, you've been talking to me. You haven't been talking to Nick at all.
You've been talking to Nick, and he.
Do I? I can't read his mind.
You told me that you and Nick agreed to the proposition, and now you're going back on that. You're backing out. Why are you backing out? Are you afraid?
Sorry, hang on. Is someone going back on something when they ask for clarity on a position?
Yes, you are. You're trying to reword my proposition.
Well, you're rewording reality right now. You're warping it.
No, I'm not.
No. It's just that the proposition, I'm not quite sure what it's saying. Like, vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans.
Okay, do you guys wish to eliminate animal agriculture? Yes or no?
We wish for clarity on the proposition.
Wait a second. Yeah. Sorry, Ellie. Go ahead.
No, but I just want to know, and so does Nick. Like, this wasn't something I thought of even before, but yeah, it does assume that there's an argument from hypocrisy. So is that the case?
That's not what I asked. If you both want to abolish animal agriculture.
I don't know why you're asking me that question.
No, we haven't.
You're a vegan. You have a position on veganism versus non-veganism, correct?
Yeah, that question's not interesting to me right now. What I'm interested in is getting clarity on the proposition.
Yeah, what Nick is trying to do, he wants to move that word hypocrisy in here because his game plan revolves around using that word to derail the entire debate.
Well,
he doesn't want to get his head wrapped around the animals.
What do you mean, if not hypocrisy?
Wait a second. Okay, let me rephrase it. Mm-hmm. Is the proposition referring to some kind of disconnect or dissonance between values and actions on the part of vegans? Yes or no?
Well, vegans, we're talking to two vegans right here, right? Not general vegans, right? Do you guys have a vegan position, yes or no?
You're just trying to switch the burden.
I just want an answer to the question.
You're not people, you're just...
Answer the question, Nick.
I'm a person, and I can tell you're trying to switch the burden of proof. So I don't know why
I don't know
why, if you don't mean hypocrisy, if that's not what you mean, what do you mean? That's all we're asking.
Yep.
Okay, what I mean is this.
Thank you.
What I mean is that the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans
Mm-hmm.
is more environmentally destructive, more harmful and damaging to animals than is the animal agriculture relied upon by those who eat meat.
And why should I care about that?
Because you're a vegan and you
And
want
what
to
does
stop
that
animal.
mean?
You want to stop animal agriculture?
Oh, so what you're saying is that there's a disconnect between my values and my actions.
Well, I don't think you do any actions. I think it's a position that shows an
Well, no.
inconsistency
Yeah.
or an arbitrary
No,
position.
there are actions that are assumed to be performed by me baked into the proposition, right? We rely on crop agriculture, for example. Presumably that means I'm going out and buying tofu, buying like rolled oats, and buying all sorts of things that entail crop agriculture. So we have my actions, which are supporting crop agriculture, and then we have my values, presumably, because you guys are saying that the problem here is that I'm a vegan doing this, right? So are you saying that there's a discontinuity, disconnect, or dissonance between my values and my actions? And is that the source of your critique? Yes or no?
We don't know what your values are because you won't say them.
Wait, you just assumed my values by saying
'cause you're a
vegan.
Yeah. What is that a big leap or something?
Nick, if you're
Well,
not
no,
here
I
to
just
You're slippery.
Nick,
Is
if
there
you're
a-
not here to defend the vegan position,
I'm
then
not
you
here to
really
No,
defend
no,
the
shouldn't have
position.
hang
shown
on.
up.
Yeah, we're not here to defend the vegan position. You made a
That's not what I'm
proposition.
here for.
It's on you.
Okay, I'm here. I'm not here.
Wow.
I'm amoral position too. We're all amoral. Now what's a debate then?
Why are
I
you
don't know
asking
what
what
the
a
hell
debate
that's
is
supposed
right
to
now?
mean.
What's a debate if you don't have a position?
Why are you scared
Okay,
to just answer this
here is the
question? I don't
proposition
understand.
that they
What is a
agreed to.
debate?
The proposition that they agreed to
We've said it
was
5 times. We're just asking for clarity on
right, but
one of
you're
the
continuing.
assumptions.
Your game plan continues to revolve around trying to derail the proposition, and that is not going to happen. And it's not. It's simply not going to happen. So you can dump that game plan. And today, what you're going to do, my friends, is you're going to get your heads wrapped around the death and destruction caused by your menu. That's what
I'd
we're
love you
going
to
to rub your
substantiate.
face in
So
today.
wait. No, that's important. So I could grant you that
You
there's
don't
death
grant me.
entailed. I can grant you that there's death entailed by my choices. Now, what's the problem with that?
What's the problem with death for any choice?
I'm not asking you, Jim Bob. I'm asking the person who rendered the original proposition. Sorry.
Yeah, but they're a team.
Yeah, I'm a team.
I'm-
So if
I
your
mean-
stance is that there's anything wrong with eating meat, or there's nothing wrong with eating meat or eating veggies, if it all entails death, then you don't really have a position to say you ought be vegan or we ought not be, carnists.
I don't know why you're talking about any of this
Yeah,
stuff.
baby, you're kind of the fourth wheel right now. Like we're just dealing with this right here.
Oh,
I don't know why you're trying to switch
all
the.
right. Should I?
All
not
right,
eat
bottle of
meat?
water. Bottle of
Should I
water.
not eat meat?
Okay,
Yes or
I'm
no?
sorry. I'm
Sorry,
starting to
go
find
ahead.
this really uninteresting.
can we just-
like all I want to know
No
is
one cares
whether
if
or
you're
not you're
interested.
talking about some kind of disconnect between vegan values, whatever you think those to be, and actions performed by vegans, whatever those are. Is that what you're talking about? Yes or no?
That your entire position is arbitrary.
Listen, I just want an answer to the question.
Yeah,
It's a
I
yes
just
or
told
no
you.
question.
I just
No,
told you.
no, that's not an answer to the
no,
question.
Nick, there can't be a disconnect if your whole position is arbitrary. There is no disconnect because your position is arbitrary, and that means Garland here running a farm and me eating steaks.
Wait a second.
it's
No.
just as
That's an
arbitrary
error.
as yours.
That's an error because we're not talking about my views here. His proposition quantifies over all vegans. I could be completely full of shit and it wouldn't prove his point.
Okay,
whatever
what does it mean
point
to
he's
be
trying to
vegan?
make.
What does it mean to be vegan then?
I should be asking him that question.
Well, you're the
He
vegan.
seems to not be able to render of like what the hell a vegan is supposed to be concerned with.
We're
That
asking
makes
you.
this proposition.
Okay, maybe
problematic.
this will help, Nick. Nick, maybe this will help. This is a quote from you
Mhm.
during your recent live stream called "Taking Action Requests for Tuesday Quack Smashing." Do you remember that?
Yep.
And
Sure
you were posed this a question by your guest who
Mhm.
asked you a question about creating a vegan world, and he proposed or had you consider those with eating disorders, and that when you tell them not to eat something or to limit their consumption of food X, that actually makes them where they can't think about anything but eating that. Okay. and that's a problem, that it gets a lot more complicated trying to create a vegan world when you have all of these different kinds of people that eat meat for different kinds of reasons. And your quote was this: from an ethics standpoint, this is a quote, from an ethics standpoint, how would we identify this person as a compulsive kind of almost murderer, right? Like they're going out and they're just compulsively killing, or at least participating in a system that leads to the systematic slaughter of like thousands and thousands of sentient beings. So like ethically, we would just kind of probably incarcerate this person and then feed them whatever the fuck diet we wanted. We would just force the vegan diet on them by incarcerating them.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would say, and I would also say it is completely tangential to what we're talking about here. I don't even know why you're talking about
this
that.
It's like 2:30 in the morning. Can we get on with the proposition that was on the table?
Nick, what do you think the proposition is? What
Well,
did you think it was before you came into the debate?
I rendered a guess when we were backstage, and I said it just sounds like a standard hypocrisy critique, and I don't think you did this on purpose, but I got cut off before I could see Garland kind of sign off on that, and that's why I asked about it again. I actually don't know what he's trying to communicate here. Like,
yeah, but here's my question to you: were you unsure about the proposition of the debate coming into the debate?
Yeah, I wasn't quite clear on it.
Then why didn't you clarify the proposition until we got here? Unless the point of it was to tie him up in the proposition instead of in the debate. That's very strange to me.
Totally bad faith, by the way. You're not making a clarification on the proposition, but you're willing to enter a debate without being clarified, without clarifying it. That's just sneaky.
And I'm asking for clarification. Can it be rendered?
Yeah, but why I'm just asking you this because I am curious. Why didn't you ask for the clarification?
I'm not interested in talking about the meta. I'm not interested in talking about meta.
This isn't meta. This
is very meta.
My question's not meta. My question's not meta. I'm asking you directly.
Yeah, you're talking about the discussion instead of letting us have the discussion.
But why didn't you ask about the proposition pre-debate?
He said it in the back room. And yeah,
what does that mean? I'm not concerned with that.
Because
I'm not concerned with that.
Wait. What? Why? You're not concerned with it. You're coming into a debate, and you didn't know what the proposition was. And you can't tell us why you didn't ask about it before the debate.
To be clear, I'm here as Ellie's backup.
Yeah, my bodyguard.
Yeah, okay, well, I get it. I get that you're here as her backup, but if you were confused about the proposition of the debate before we went live in front of everyone, why wouldn't you ask about that pre-debate, considering we've had almost a week and a half running up to it?
He did clarify in the back room.
I did ask about it before the debate.
Hang on.
Okay, when?
Is Ellie, are you clear on it? Are you clear on the?
I mean, I'm as clear as one can be if you like dissect all the words.
Yeah, can you give back what you believe
what you agreed to, at least? That way we know.
Vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans, which would have the assumption that there is an appeal to hypocrisy, because, like, why is this worth debating to a vegan?
The first part of it, do you agree that there are vegans or general veganism tries to abolish animal agriculture?
I'm not sure why we're going through this when the proposition is on Garland
in
Farms.
The proposition.
Well, that's the proposition.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's
in the proposition.
Yes, listen to me, Jim Bob. Made by Garland Farms. The burden of proof's on him to talk about this.
Do you agree with the first premise?
But hang on. So I agree with you there that the burden of proof is on him to talk about it.
So,
but if the question here is you don't have an understanding of what the proposal is and you want to get it clarified, then them asking you questions about the proposal itself to get an agreement or disagreement seems completely fair.
So I just want to say one thing. I think the confusion here is that when we received the proposition, we were just under the assumption that it was just talking about hypocrisy, and we thought we understood it. Yeah. And then when I asked Garland Farms, like, is this what you mean by it, just to make sure that my interpretation was correct, he didn't give me an answer. It's a yes or no question.
No, you never did. No, that never happened. You never asked me that, Nick. What are you even talking about?
At the very beginning of this, I asked you, is this what you mean by that? And you didn't
Are you
answer me.
talking about 5 minutes ago or just a few minutes ago when this whole debate was supposed to start?
I'm not talking about backstage. I'm talking about a moment ago, approximately 30 minutes ago, when this thing first started.
Okay.
I asked you, is this what you mean when you say that? And that's a yes or no question. And you didn't answer me. You went on a tangent about crop agriculture and yada, yada, yada. It was a yes or no question.
About crop agriculture. That is actually you're a perfect example of a vegan who's making all of these. You want to put non-vegans incarcerate non-vegans and feed them whatever fuck diet you want, as you said.
I'm not interested in talking about me. I'm interested in talking about this proposition.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter.
But then if that's true and you're interested in talking about the proposition, then why won't you let them go through the proposition so they can get clarification on both sides?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. You said a second ago, I'm not interested in the meta, but then you're saying, now I'm interested in the meta, a conversation about the conversation. It's like, okay.
Wait, no, I'm not interested in a conversation about me. I'm not interested in in a conversation about the conversation. I'm interested in Garland Farms giving a yes or no to the question as to whether or not the proposition is with regards to vegan hypocrisy. So let's go through this
proposal one step at a time. That seems fair, right? So we can figure this thing out. So let's read the first part of it. Can you read the first part of it to me, vegan gays?
Yeah, sorry. Vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. That first part.
Okay. So is that true or false? Do you guys wish to criminalize animal agriculture?
Well, I don't take us to be representative of all vegans everywhere. The proposition's phrased such that it quantifies over all vegans, so I'm not entirely sure.
Andrew, can I read you something?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to the thread where I originally approached Vegan Gays because I was being asked by my subscribers to debate her.
Destroy me in a debate.
And so she says to me, after I had given her a proposition, she wanted me to reword it. And so I finally reworded it and I said, vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. And she wrote back about her and Nick. She says, and this is a quote, "Yeah, we're happy with that proposition. Let me know when it's set up. And if you want to email me in case I missed the update." So she just says right here that they were happy with that proposition.
That's compatible with what I said.
And now they show up for the debate and they want to debate the proposition.
How can it be compatible with what you said? If what you're saying is you don't understand the proposition, how can you be happy with the proposition?
I don't understand.
Oh, no.
This isn't, no, wait, we're not like communicating like human beings here. Like when someone says, oh, I'm happy to debate that proposition, does that mean that we've like hashed out every single word and thought, oh, I know exactly what that person means by that?
Yeah. If you agreed to it, you understood it, right?
Yes, that's what it means.
If I asked you, can you go get me a coffee, and you agreed, would I assume you understood what I meant? What? This is
listen.
You guys are so
listen.
slippery.
I had an interpretation. I had an interpretation of the proposition. I'm just simply asking if my interpretation is correct, and that's a yes or no question.
And so that's what we're trying to figure out. So let's go back through the proposition.
Yeah, can we just get through it instead of just trying to insert these slippery intentions?
So the first part of this proposition, do you agree or disagree with it, or are you not going to take a position on it?
I'm happy with the proposition that is put forward in that section. That fully makes sense.
Okay, so let's just start with that. With if it's moral or ethical for vegans to want to do that. Since you're happy with that, seems like we can start.
I think it would make more sense to deal with the second part. I don't know about you, Nick, but
because the second part, I'm not sure why I should care about it. Yeah,
and if we don't know that part, then it's kind of weird to kind of tackle the first bit.
Okay, so then let's move on to the second part. Read that off.
Sorry, I'm so sleepy. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans.
Wait, read that again.
However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So why should vegans care about that?
Well, if you're willing to put people in, incarcerate people and feed them, as you said, whatever the fuck diet you want, then you need to be able to justify your reason for working towards incarcerating people that don't eat the diet that you want them to eat.
Right. So
only
you think there is something about there is something about my values that makes it so that I can't infer to the proposition that crop agriculture that is relied upon by vegans is more ethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. You're saying that there's something about my values or the propositions that I hold to be true that makes it so that I cannot justify that.
I thought you, Nick,
claim.
we weren't talking about your values. Now we are talking about your values.
Listen, just
Which is it?
okay. When
Okay. I'm not here debating.
for a second?
I'm not here debating my views, but also
no,
my
I'm
values.
not here to debate
what the
my
hell
views.
Are you talking about?
Jimbo,
I'm not here to
we
debate
didn't
my
even
views.
expect you to be
My
here,
values.
so if you could stop being a cunt for 2 seconds, that would just
Shut
be
up,
brilliant.
vegan. Shut up.
Shut up.
Nick, you just said my values, right? Is that you as a person or just what?
Well, okay. So
Okay.
I'll rephrase it if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. So do you take the position that there is something about vegan values, whatever those are, don't have to be my values, just vegan values, that makes it so they can't justify the proposition that crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more ethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans? Is
Well, I
that
don't
the
know,
position?
Nick, is it right or is it wrong to kill sentient beings according to your values?
Oh no, I'm not here debating.
I don't know why you're asking me any questions.
Because I'm answering in order to answer your question, I have to have some questions answered. You're not the one that gets to ask all the questions, Nick.
Well,
I don't know exactly who you think you are.
Why are we debating
You're not the debater
ChatGPT?
that you think you are. You're not going
You're
to
on
do
defense in
this
this
debate that you think that you're going to do.
bud.
You think that
No.
you're going to derail this debate and talk about something other than the damage done by the crop agriculture that delivers the items on your menu. So tell me, why is it that you want to incarcerate people that don't and feed them whatever the fuck diet that you want whenever they eat meat or eat animal products?
I'm not interested in
It's the
talking
switching
about
of burden of proof, like it's
Okay, so
cringing
we're
me
not
out as
talking
well.
about your value. Okay, so we're not talking about your values anymore, Nick. So when you say why should we care about the proposition, we're assuming that you represent today people who want to abolish animal manufacturing and agriculture, right? So that's the assumption. You coming to the table with the proposition, we're assuming that you're taking the position of a vegan. Are you not here taking the position of a vegan? Or should we just kick you off and get Chat GPT on here and then just debate the computer?
Listen, is the proposition that vegans or vegan values are such that you cannot logically infer that crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more ethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans?
Is a vegan position an ethical position or just an arbitrary preference?
I'm not, Ellie, I'm not getting anywhere with these
Nick,
people. They just refuse
I don't
to
have
answer
any
the
position.
question.
I don't know why
I
they're
don't have
trying
any
to switch.
position.
They brought Jim Bob the Clown in to try and switch the burden of proof. It's
Yeah,
kind
it's-
of clear.
I find it
have
very
no
irritating.
position. I have no
I'm
position.
Jim Bob the Clown. Like, what?
I've got no position.
I'm too
So do you.
sleepy, mate. Like,
Nick, that is something that you're going to have to work out yourself. Okay, you're going to have to sit and think about that and have a long talk with yourself on that subject. What we're here to talk about is the proposition that you've already agreed to.
yeah, and you're crying about
Which
whether or
we've
not
read out
you're
many
crying
times
about
here.
and you're crying
But
about
now-
Nick just
no,
going. Oh, hang on, can I
would
just
you
clarify?
please stop interrupting me? This is why we didn't do this privately. This is why we have the moderator.
Well, good
because
thing
you
we didn't,
interrupt.
because someone just asks you. This is an
Everyone
argument
knows
from
that you
hypocrisy. and
interrupt.
you're
All
like,
right,
I'm not
hang
going
on,
to.
hang on. Listen,
It's a debate.
listen. I can just square this really easy because I've been listening to the back and forth. So I want to make sure that I have this clear. Under no circumstances, Nick and Vegan Gays, are you guys going to take a position on anything, correct?
Not necessarily. I mean,
I
I'm
don't.
not here to take a position
Yeah.
on something. I'm here to talk
So then
about
the
this
answer would be
proposition.
no. You're not going to
Well,
take a
I thought
position
this
on
was
any
a
of this,
debate
right?
panel.
Great.
Like,
I
Well,
think
I'm not-
no, I'm just clarifying. I'm just clarifying.
Well, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen as the debate progresses, but right now, no, I'm not here to talk about any of my
Got it.
positions.
Okay. So then, if there was a clarification error and you weren't sure what the proposition itself was, and you're trying to get clarification on it right now, don't you think that it's proper for us to shelve it until we can get clarification on what this proposition is? And then we can bring it back and we can try to have this debate again when people are less confused
the
about
thing
what
is,
it is they're debating.
I'm not understanding, like Jim Bob used the analogy of like, oh, do you want to go get a coffee? So if someone just goes, oh, sorry, yeah, I'm at the shop. Did you want soy or oat milk? Would someone really be like, oh my God, like, oh, you should have asked before I left home. Like, are you joking? Just say, oh yeah, no, it is an argument from hypocrisy because I think vegans do this and this and this. I don't know why this is hard. Like, I'm just too tired.
Well, because if one side thought they were debating one thing and the other side wasn't even sure what they were debating, then we have a problem in the debate.
No, we had a good idea.
The other side could be agreeing to something. Maybe they haven't thought the position out, or they have thought the position out. I have no idea. But it seems like there's a lot of confusion here as to what this debate
no,
is
there's not confusion. It's literally just, is this an argument from hypocrisy that Nick wanted to clarify? Like, I had a good idea of what this meant. Nick had a good idea as well, but just wanted to clarify. I don't know why this is difficult.
Okay, so it's simple. Let me try to rephrase it. Nick, you asked, why should anybody care about the proposal, right? That if that it's more ethical. It's more ethical to just do the animal farming than the alternative, right? According to our position of what vegans say, which is to abolish, right? If a vegan means to abolish animal agriculture, right? But you said, why should I care, right? Well, if you were somebody who wanted to abolish animal agriculture, right, then you should care. If you're not someone who wanted to abolish animal agriculture, right, then what are you here? You're just a reflective, or are you just being a reflection of the argument? Is that what you want to do? Like, just reflect back the argument and kind of see if it's consistent or something?
I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about, but let's say all vegans just wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture.
Right.
However, and then the proposition continues, however, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. Why should the vegans described in the former part of the proposition care about the latter part of the proposition?
Well, if a vegan is making generally a moral argument that we ought abolish animal agriculture, then they're appealing to a meta-ethical position. That's why they should care. But if you, Nick, and vegan gays are total sophists and you don't have a position, there's nothing we can say to you if you just say we don't care either way. Go ahead and do animal agriculture or don't.
Well,
that's what, ironically, our position.
Wait a second. That's completely tangential. The proposition's not about me and Ellie. It's about vegans. It quantifies over all vegans. It's tangential what my view is.
I gave up bed for this. Can you believe it?
Okay, but if it's arbitrary and you shouldn't care, why would you debate either way? Why would you show up and debate either way?
I don't know what you're trying to communicate.
Why do you
here.
care enough to show up for a debate, Nick? You're a human being, right? Why are you here?
All I want to know is, why should the vegans described in the former part of the proposition care about the latter part of the proposition?
Because the vegan in the former proposition is making a moral, ethical position on not eating meat, that they ought abolish something. That's a meta-ethical position.
So is it hypocritical?
Yeah, exactly. So if the vegan is supporting said crop agriculture with their actions, are you saying that there's some kind of disconnect between their actions and their values?
Nick, that is something that you're going to have to introspect about once the debate is over.
Right, can I just ask,
You've got a game
plan.
You've got a game plan that revolves around that word hypocritical, and you've got these debate tricks that you want to play with that word.
Mate,
and how many times, Nick, do I have to tell you that is not going to happen today, my friend?
I know you're a conspiracy theorist, but the paranoia is insane right now. You just wanted to like go, oh, just to make sure, is this
Well,
hypocrisy?
you've already
Okay,
agreed
how
to a
about we just do this
proposition, and
differently?
now you've shown up to a debate and you're trying to back out. If you back out and you're not willing to
Whoa.
debate the proposition that you already agreed to,
That you made.
that is a loss.
You
That
set
is
the
your
proposition.
loss. You lose.
It's your
So wait,
proposition
You
to defend.
lose. Al.
One second.
You lose.
Can I
You're
rephrase the
playing
question?
you're playing these dishonest games.
Can I get
Well,
moderation?
It's
Can I get
only
moderation?
making
He's just
you
meta
look
talking
like
at this point.
it's
Yeah.
only
been meta
exposing your
talking for, like,
unethical
45 minutes.
stance.
Can
There's
I get
no ethics.
moderation? He's just rambling about meta at this point. I could re-ask the question differently if you want.
Please.
If not for a claim or a critique in reference to vegan hypocrisy, what does it mean? If not a reference to vegan hypocrisy, what does this mean?
Here's part of it is that vegans do not have their mind wrapped around the gargantuan scale, the exponential nature of the suffering, death, and these environmental destruction caused by the crop agriculture that provides the items on the vegan menu.
And why, in your mind, do we need to understand that?
Because
You don't have, you're willing to throw people in incarceration and feed them whatever fuck diet you want. And you need, before you make those types of judgment calls, you need to be able to get your head wrapped around the death and destruction caused by the crop agriculture that delivers the items on your menu.
Those things
However,
don't.
today you've shown that you don't want
What?
to know. You're not willing to learn the scale of destruction and death caused by your diet.
Is this just not describing
meshing.
hypocrisy?
Yeah.
We're not playing that.
Why
That's
can't
something
you
that
just
you're
say yes
going
or
to have
no?
to sit
Why
and
can't
work out with
you're
yourself.
just gonna have to sit
man.
and just work out why you can't just say yes or no to, like, is this from hypocrisy? Like, why can't you?
You've already agreed to a proposition, and now we're 46 minutes into the debate.
Yeah, because
and
you
you're
just
you're
won't say
still trying to
yes
change
or
the
no.
proposition.
You learnt these
Well,
words at
You're
what,
yeah,
still
3?
trying to
All we
change the
require is a yes or no.
proposition.
This isn't our doing. All
No.
we require is a yes or no.
Nice and simple, and then we can move forward. We're very happy to. So just yes or no. Is it an argument from hypocrisy? Can
No,
you
I
say
asked you yes or no. Do you agree to this proposition? And you said yes.
that's
yes.
got nothing
and
to
now
do?
what are you even trying to do right now?
I'm trying to ask you: is this an argument from hypocrisy?
But you've already
Yes
agreed to the
or
proposition.
no. Is this an
you've already agreed to the proposition. So
We
what are
agree-
you doing?
We agree to the proposition. We understood it. Just make sure that we're understanding it correctly.
You're breaking up, Nick. Sorry.
Oh, we agree to the proposition as we understood it. Oh, we had a good idea of when, but
Hey, you're still
Yeah,
Nick. You're still roboting pretty bad. To be just so you know,
But
I
I'm
don't know,
on.
maybe it's internet. Not exactly sure what's going on.
1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check.
No, you're still roboting really bad. He's roboting for you too, right, Vegan Gaze?
Yeah, he is.
Mm. That's unfortunate. Even loud and clear. I don't know. It can't be connected thing on my part. Maybe it's the stream that we're on.
Well, nobody else is, I think, having any issues. One of the things you might want to do is back out and come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that
Okay.
helps people out. You might have another program running in the background that suddenly seized a whole bunch of your CPU. So try that.
Okay, got the thing here. Yeah, I'll live in.
That's about the most Robotnik I've ever heard anybody. Jesus.
Hang on, let me I'm sorry, nothing personal. I'm going to kick you from the studio so that when you reboot, your freeze frame isn't still there. So I did kick him from the studio, but I probably didn't boot him off the debate. I just kicked him so that when he signs back in, it wasn't froze frame. So
Let you off this time. That's fine.
Yeah. So just relax. Okay. But so here's the thing. Here's what I think. So here's what I think.
Can we continue right now? Because you didn't want the disparity between the opponents. So I guess we should just twiddle our thumbs for a second, right?
We can go.
Yeah,
ahead.
I think we should.
I'll ask you a question, Vegan Gaze.
No, you needed to come in as a second. So as you can see, there's a disparity. So we'll just
What?
wait for my
Oh.
partner. Yeah,
Check 1 2.
we're back.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, cool.
If the proposition was to be interpreted as not a hypocrisy, but the fact that the position itself, if you were to grant that vegans generally want to abolish meat agriculture, if it were to be demonstrated that it's just an arbitrary position, then what?
I don't know what you mean.
If the position, we ought not do animal agriculture because X, it's usually like suffering or death or whatever. If that threshold or the reasoning for that was determined or demonstrated to be arbitrary, then what would your position be?
I'm not sure I understand. All I'm interested in talking about is the proposition right here.
Yeah, I just
Yeah, I'm talking about the consequences of the proposition. If it's determined that the vegan position, right, you'd have to grant it, right? You guys would grant it. You wouldn't be like, it's not my position. I'm not here to debate my position. But if you were to grant that vegans generally argue against animal agriculture, that's the first part of the proposition. If that's the case, yes? Is that the case? Can we grant that that's the case,
I'm
just
just
for the
waiting.
sake of argument?
I'm just waiting to hear whether or not it's an argument from
Holy
hypocrisy. I just
shit.
don't.
Yeah, this is completely tangential to what we're trying to get a
It's
handle
just
on.
so
Keep using
simple.
that
It's
word.
it's a
You
yes
keep
or
using that
no.
word.
Just say
Yeah,
just
I
say
don't
no.
care if
Are
I'm
we
using the
not-
word more than
just say
you
no.
like me to.
Well, so
I'm
we're
going to
almost-
continue using
I'm
it
a
as long as it's
sophist.
apt.
I'm an
Yeah,
absolute
so
sophist.
here's the thing.
A
We're almost
sofa?
an hour.
Damn.
We're almost an hour in, and we still don't even have a proposition, right? And we're not agreeing. We're not able to agree. We're not able to agree on what the proposition should be. So
I have a hypothesis.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a hypothesis that this is basically an argument about hypocrisy, but Garland Farms knows exactly where that's going to go, and he doesn't want that to happen. So he's refusing to say yes or no to the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we should just assume it is and run with
So
that.
I also have a hypothesis. My hypothesis is that you guys understood what Garland wanted to discuss, but you purposely kept it vague so that you could, when you came on, have a different proposal than the one you thought he wanted to talk about. That's my hypothesis.
Wait,
now,
what does
now
it
here's
mean
my
for us
here's
to
my
keep it
evidence.
vague?
Hang on.
What do you mean
Here's my
vague?
evidence.
Where's the vague?
Here's my evidence for this.
Yeah.
My evidence. Yesterday in the Discord, people asked me how I thought this debate would go, and I said, well, since Nick didn't take a position, because Nick never takes a position. Since he didn't take a position, my guess is that what they're going to do is they're just going to fight over the proposition the entire time. That's
Like
my
all
guess.
Why
vegans
does he
do.
need to take a position? Garland Farms
Well, he
has a
doesn't.
position
Well,
on the
he
table.
listen. He doesn't. I'm just saying
Yeah.
the reason that I think that most of the Ask Yourself community doesn't take positions, are always moral anti-realist, take no positions on anything, is that way the burden is always on whoever they're debating with.
You're assuming
That's
slippery
the-
intent
that's
because
the
he's
goal.
part of an Ask Yourself community. I see what's happening. So you're
No,
so
I'm
has Jim
assuming
Bob
intent
been-
because I wrote this out and it happened exactly as I wrote
well,
it
no,
out.
like this is what this is about. Then, like that's why Jim Bob's in here. Like literally, all Nick did
Well,
at the start.
I'm-
Yeah, sorry, Nick, you go.
Well, no,
No, you
the
can
reason
go
Jim
ahead.
Bob's here is because I think personally, vegan gays,
Mhm.
that you're not good enough at philosophy to pull off the proposition to get him to switch it. So you had Nick come in because he's good enough at philosophy in order to push that. And so Jim Bob was here as a counter because Garland Farms isn't a philosopher.
Yeah, why wouldn't I bring in someone who's better than me? That just makes sense.
And why wouldn't Garland? That makes sense.
Well,
And
Garland
philosophy.
said he'd. To be fair, Garland did. He
That's
said
true.
I didn't need
Garland
a
did.
debate
Garland
partner.
did say that, but the
So
second I knew
it's funny.
was
The
no
slippery stuff has
position on the other
happened really
side.
over there, arguably, and you're just assuming this slipperiness from our behavior. When
Except,
all we've done is ask for a
you
question.
and Nick already agreed to the proposition.
Yeah,
You've
and
already
all we-
agreed to the proposition.
You know what?
And if we stuck to that proposition, then I would not need a partner. But I knew that Nick was going to try to play games.
Wait, hang
I
on.
wasn't sure exactly he was going to actually start with the proposition though. So I guess Andrew knew exactly what he was talking about.
You know what? Then let's play a game. Nick, this is an argument from hypocrisy. Garland doesn't want to say. Should we do it that way? Like,
Well, I just offered that. Let's just call it. It's arbitrary. Well, instead of saying,
Yeah, I don't know what
that's
you mean by that.
Do you know what arbitrary means?
Well,
Do
I
you-
have a
well, it
concept
depends
of
on
what
what you-
arbitrary means.
Oh, you have a concept. Well, why don't you stop being wiggly and just tell me what you think arbitrary means?
I'm not sure why I should care about arbitrary.
What does soap mean, Nick?
Listen, I just want to
You
get
wiggly
clear on
worm.
one
Soap.
thing about the proposition.
Unbelievable, these people.
No, I
It
just
depends on
want
what
to
you
get
mean
clear
by
on one.
arbitrary.
Nick, I looked over your website or your YouTube channel and also Vegan Gays L's channel, and like L's got almost 400 videos, and not one of them focuses on crop deaths. Okay, I'm not saying that you're hypocrites. I don't think that you have your head wrapped around the scale of animal suffering, death, and environmental destruction caused by the crop agriculture that provides the items on the vegan menu.
Okay, so yeah, I do talk about crop deaths in my live streams quite often. I've never done a dedicated video, but why should I, as a vegan, in your view, specifically be so concerned about crop deaths?
Because you don't have your head wrapped around it.
Why do I need
I don't
my
know
head
what you
wrapped
mean
around
by
it?
that.
The reason you should be concerned, if you're a vegan, right, a person named Ellie, and Nick, if you are someone who takes the position that we ought abolish animal agriculture, then you should care. If you don't care and it's arbitrary, then you shouldn't care because it's arbitrary and no one cares anyway.
So would that be hypocritical of us?
No, because it would be arbitrary. It wouldn't matter because your entire position would be arbitrary.
My position is that it's not about hypocrisy. It's about you've never focused on that. I don't think that you've got your head wrapped around.
I have focused on my streams. It's not my problem that you haven't tuned in. What do you mean? I talk about crop deaths all the time. I have to talk to people multiple times. It always comes up. That's why I'm like,
give me a rundown of what causes.
Oh, nobody. We're not doing that.
No.
Is it an argument from hypocrisy? Yes or no?
What you've got here is two vegans that they'll tell you all day how many animals are killed, sentient beings are killed for meat. But they when you start to talk to them about, you want to expose crop agriculture, then all of a sudden, no, we're not here to talk about that. We want to talk about the word hypocrisy.
No, do you think it's
and
hypocritical?
you want the entire debate to revolve around that word hypocrisy, when I'm saying that I don't think you have your mind wrapped around the scale.
Do you think it's hypocritical?
No, it's arbitrary.
I have absolutely no idea what that means.
You don't know what arbitrary means.
No, I don't know what you mean when you say it like that.
Okay,
I don't know what that sentence means.
Nick, let me ask you a question. Are you honest?
I think I am.
If you think you're honest, then I think that once you get your head wrapped around the scale, then I think that your thinking about animal agriculture versus crop agriculture will change.
Oh,
I don't think you're a hypocrite. I think you're ignorant.
So wait, you do think that there's some kind of disconnect between my values and my actions?
We are.
No, I think there's a disconnect between your values and your knowledge.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that there is something wrong with my... So you're saying that there's something wrong with my values, or something wrong with vegan values, rather, because they're like ill-informed, misinformed?
Just arbitrary.
Ignorant. They're ignorant.
Ignorant of like the scale of animal death?
The scale of animal suffering and death, as well as the environmental damage and destruction caused by crop agriculture and the elements of crop agriculture that make crop agriculture a thing and produce the items on the vegan menu.
So upon knowing that as a vegan, you said you were going to destroy me in a debate, right? So why would that destroy? You said people want me to destroy. Sorry, people.
Go back.
Hang on, it's right. It's right, babe. People, you said.
You just misquoted me. You just misquoted me, El. You just misquoted me.
I'll do it.
You're not allowed to misquote me, El. You're not allowed to misquote me. That's a lie.
Hang on,
I
you can correct it, Garland, but let her finish her point real quick.
You said people have asked me to destroy you in a debate. So what I want to know is how, what I want to know is how would that destroy me as a vegan for you to come along and then inform me about crop deaths?
Because I would then expose your ignorance.
In what way? Why would that be ignorant?
Because we're going to go over all of the death, destruction, environmental damage, environmental harm
But hang on.
in the suffering, the animal suffering
Okay,
caused by
we
the
are very
crop
close.
agriculture
We're so
that
close.
delivers the items on the vegan menu.
Do you feel how close we are, Nick? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So why would that like destroy me by exposing my ignorance? You
That's
said,
what I
oh, I
told you
haven't
what
covered it.
my subscribers were asking me to do. I did not say I was going to destroy you.
So why do
I
you,
told you that my subscribers were asking me to destroy you
we
in
were
debate.
so close, Garland.
Stop trying to reword the
getting
things that I say.
Vegan.
It makes you look dishonest.
I'm very dishonest.
Ella, it would only destroy you if that were the case. If you actually accepted the position that we shouldn't do animal agriculture because X suffering or whatever like that. But if you don't take a position,
So would it be hypocritical to have those crop deaths in place? Is that what you're saying? So it destroy me. Yeah, there we go. I think we're here. I think we're pretty close. I feel the cusp.
No,
it would destroy. Yes, it would absolutely destroy me, wouldn't it? It would destroy me if something came along and entailed like rights violations or was a terrible thing to animals. If you're thinking it's an argument for hypocrisy.
No, it's worse than that. Because if you took the position, if any of you had the balls to take the position that we ought abolish animal agriculture, I would ask you, why ought we abolish animal agriculture? And you would be silent. And that would destroy your position. But you won't say it. And that's why you won't say it. Because you guys are cowardly vegans.
No, if I was taking a proposition, I would...
What position are we taking in this debate that we would be destroyed on? We're not defending a proposition here. We're scrutinizing a proposition.
Right. But you're accepting that the general position for veganism is abolishing animal agriculture, right?
It's irrelevant to the discussion.
It's in the proposition.
No, it quantifies overall vegans. Our views are not on, like, our viewers are not in question here. Like, nobody cares that we're not here to discuss our views. Our views are not in dispute here. The proposition is, and it quantifies overall vegans, not just us.
Okay, so the position is something you can't actually get into and defend because the people you're defending, the general vegan population that thinks we ought not do animal agriculture, right?
Whoa. Who says I'm here to defend anybody?
No, Garland is here to defend his proposition.
Garland is here on defense.
Why do you keep
Because it's his
that?
proposition.
Right.
That's what's happening.
This is what we need to know, Nick and Elle. Why did you accept the proposition, and why did you allow us to set up this debate if you were not willing to debate the proposition that you agreed to?
Well, no, let me be clear. I didn't know, like, so far as Nick, like, asking this specific question, but it makes sense because I had the assumption you just meant argument from hypocrisy. That's absolutely what I thought. So Nick was just being like, just to make sure that we're not wasting our time and, like, he's attacking something that you don't even believe. Hang on, that you don't even believe. He just went, oh yeah, so just to be clear, with the assumption that he had on that proposition, he just goes, just to be clear, is that what you mean? And then you get all butthurt for an hour and 3 minutes.
Elle, does that mean that anyone that agrees to a proposition is allowed to go into the debate asking for clarification on items around that proposition that I assume? You guys never did approach me in the last week and a half and say,
language is embedded with assumptions.
Hypocrisy. We've got a game plan for hypocrisy, but we don't want you to expose the death and destruction caused by the crop agriculture that our menu relies upon.
Backstage before the debate, I had characterized, or I had said that this is the way I'm interpreting the proposition, that it seems like just a critique in relation to vegan hypocrisy. And I believe I said that to Andrew multiple times, at least twice, and you didn't object at the time.
No.
If there was some kind of miscommunication, why didn't you bring it up when we were backstage having a conversation about it?
If you felt like the fact that I didn't object to your own self-assessment of how you wanted to approach this debate, I don't care how you approach this debate.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the interpretation of your proposition.
You just interrupted me, Nick. You need to shut up.
Well, no, I'll interrupt
Nick,
you if
you
you're
need
not.
to let me speak.
I'll interrupt you if you're
Nick,
on a tangent.
you need to let me speak. You quit interrupting.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. You had ample opportunity to clarify this this proposition over the last
So
week
hang
and a
on.
half.
So you really wanted us to go.
Now,
So
Elle, now
just- no,
you're interrupting me.
Yeah, Garland, listen.
This is
Oh,
the
hey,
vegan. This is
Harry
the
Potter,
vegan game.
shush.
Just
This is the vegan
Harry
game.
Potter,
All
shush.
they want to do is
no,
obfuscate
listen. Right.
and interrupt.
Just-
They
no,
cannot play fair
You've been talking quite. I haven't spoken for just
because
a minute.
they're
Listen,
ethically corrupt.
Listen.
All right. Let him finish, Garland.
So realistically,
I'll let her finish
Oh my
interrupting me.
God. Listen to me. So you expected me to go, so vegans, what do you mean by vegans? Wish. Can I just clarify what you mean by wish? Two, what exactly? So before we came into this debate, you wanted me to look at
That's what you're
every
doing now.
It
word.
depends on what the definition of is. Is that what we're playing? The game
No,
we're playing?
this is no. You're
Totally.
playing this weird game where you're like, it's being like, oh my God, you didn't know exactly what every single word that I was saying meant.
What
Well,
is
if you
the
just got
definition of is, Elle?
honey, I don't know. Okay,
Isn't
listen
that
to me.
really where we're
Yeah,
at
it's
here?
3 a.m. I'm not
Yeah,
in the
we
mood
are
for this
at that.
bullshit. Like,
Can you do a little bit better job of obfuscating? Come on,
obfuscating.
do a better job, Elle.
Obfuscating.
Both of you look pathetic right now.
I mean, I don't
Absolutely
care. I don't care
pathetic.
what I look like. I
You've
just
shown
wanna know,
up and you've shown up for a debate,
that's-
and both of you are
okay,
declaring that you
whatever
will
you
not
have to do to run
defend a
away from it.
position.
No,
I'm
you.
not here to defend
We're
a
not
position.
here
That's
to
been made
defend
clear.
a position, darling.
Nick, can I ask you a
Both of
question?
you are pathetic.
What? Because
No, I'm not here to answer your questions. Can we
Yeah, you
please
are.
get on with this?
This is a debate. It includes questions.
yeah, well, we're waiting for
Well,
the
I
first
mean, there's
question to be
offense and
asked.
defense.
I'm asking
You guys
you
are
a
on
basic-
defense.
I'm asking you a
We're
question.
asking the fucking questions.
Oh yeah. No, answer this question real quick.
No.
If
If it's not a clarifying question, I won't answer it.
it's
Me neither.
clarifying. It's clarifying. If it demonstrated hypocrisy, then what would you do as just the kind of observer here in this situation?
If it demonstrated hypocrisy, I don't know. I don't understand the question.
You don't understand now the question again. If
Well,
if Garland's argument produced hypocrisy or a contradiction on the position that animal agriculture should be obliterated because of suffering, and then he produced an argument that was valid that based on that standard of suffering that vegan agriculture did far more harm, right, based on the standard, then what would you say, right? What would you say from your position?
You're asking me what my approach would be if it was an argument about hypocrisy
or inconsistent?
Well, I'm not sure why I should care to answer that question because I'm not sure if it even is an argument about hypocrisy.
I said if it was. Holy shit.
I don't care to answer that goddamn question.
Then you're a sophist.
No, I just want to understand what the proposition means.
I just gave a potential of what it would mean based on your sniffing around whether it's hypocrisy. I granted, what if it was hypocrisy? What would you say? I wouldn't say anything. I'm not interested
in answering any of your fucking questions.
Yeah, no shit.
It's not a clarifying question. You're asking me about meta. This isn't a clarifying question. You're just bullshitting me.
You brought in
I have a clarifying question, Nick.
Go for it.
I'm new to the debate arena. I don't know all of these little debate tricks that you pull. However, my question to you is it standard protocol to agree to a proposition and then show up to the debate and then try to change the proposition? Is that standard protocol?
How is this clarifying for any question that I've asked?
If you're from the Ask Yourself community, yes.
How is this clarifying for any question that I've asked you?
Answer the question, Nick. I'm asking.
It's not clarifying for any of the questions that I asked you.
Nick, I'm asking the fucking question. You answer it.
No, I refuse.
Are you a vegan?
I don't care to answer that question either.
Is your name Nick?
I'm only here to talk about the proposition. I'm not here to talk about me.
Your
I'm not here to
pronouns
talk
he,
about
she?
the conversation. I'm not here to talk about anything that's tangential to the subject that we're here to talk about.
What are your pronouns?
Is it an argument from hypocrisy? Yes or no?
I just said if it was.
No,
I'm not
I want to
interested
know
in
I
hypotheticals
wanna know
here. I'm
from
not
Garland-
interested in that.
yeah.
It's not a clarifying question. I don't give a fuck about it.
Elle, what are your pronouns?
I've told you again and again that it is about the ignorance, not the hypocrisy, the ignorance. You ready to get on with the debate now?
The ignorance. So what you're saying is that vegans are just uneducated about something?
I've told you several times, Nick, that I don't think that vegans, by and large, have their head wrapped around the gargantuan damage, suffering, both to animals, animal death, as well as environmental destruction and harm. I don't think that vegans, by and large, have their heads wrapped around that.
Why should they care to
Yeah.
wrap their heads around that?
You should have asked that question before you agreed to come on this debate, Nick.
And what would you
Well,
have said?
well, wait,
And
that's
the
a
fact
different.
that you
What
didn't,
would
and the
you-
fact that you're using that to derail our
It's not
debate
derail,
now
it's a clarifying
exposes
question of the
you.
fucking proposition,
Nick,
you ding
that-
dong.
And that's a
Nick.
different proposition than the one we agreed to. Like,
Nick,
just
why
to be
would you-
clear.
Why would you care to show up for a debate?
I'm just trying to reword it as best I can so that you will understand.
Yeah, I'm asking you a clarifying question.
Okay,
Like,
would you please read to me the original proposition that you agreed to?
Oh, I'm sorry. I deleted it from my Obsidian. Let
Do
me.
you want me to?
Who is when
I
you
can
said
read
I
it.
deleted it? Who is I?
I'll read it. So, vegans wish to abolish and criminalize animal agriculture. However, the crop agriculture relied upon by vegans is more unethical than the animal agriculture relied upon by non-vegans. Is this an argument from hypocrisy? Yes or no?
No, you added something, didn't you?
What?
You added something.
No,
Well, if
I
there-
have
like, if
That
anybody
screenshots.
last question was
if
not
somebody
part of the
misspoke-
Oh no,
proposition.
that, yeah, no, that
When
was
I
that
ask
was
you a
no.
question, you answer it.
Yes,
You
sir.
don't ask.
Yes,
you
sir.
don't try to
Yes.
marry it to a question.
Okay. Is it an argument from hypocrisy though? Yes or no?
Is that the proposition you agreed to, or is it not?
I agree.
What's an argument from
Well,
hypocrisy?
we agreed to a proposition as we understood it. We're just asking
Okay,
if
then
we're
let's get the
understanding it
debate
correctly.
going. Then let's get this debate going.
Yeah, well, yeah. Go, Nick. Carry on with the question.
We've been waiting to get on with the debate for like an hour.
Well, you know, sometimes these things have to be
Sometimes.
clarified, I guess. Sometimes they have to be clarified, but now that they're clarified, whenever you guys are ready to get to the debate.
Well, I'm just still like, okay, so Garland seems to be signing off that this is the proposition. I'm still unclear about whether or not this is just a critique about vegan hypocrisy, because it's not clear to me why the vegans in the former half of the proposition should necessarily be concerned with what's in the latter half of the proposition. Why should vegans care about that?
Okay, tell me, what is it that vegans are concerned with, Nick?
Well, I should be asking you that question. It's your proposition. You're saying something that quantifies over all vegans. I should be asking you that question.
They're concerned with the harm of animals.
Okay, so if they're concerned with the harm of animals, why ought they be concerned about the differential animal, like
Differential, what are you even talking about, Nick?
why
That
should they be
word does not even
concerned?
belong in that
Why should they be
sentence.
concerned with ethical differences between crop agriculture and
No,
animal
Nick,
agriculture?
Nick, why should they be concerned with animal deaths?
Why should they be? I should be asking you that question if
No,
that's
no,
what
no,
is
no,
meant
no,
by unethical.
No. If a vegan says we ought not do animal agriculture, why skip to the differentiation? Why should they care about that? Why would I grant any of that?
I don't know what the hell you're talking
Why
about.
would I grant? You're skipping, right? Right. The proposition is, why should they care about the differential between animal deaths in meat industry versus vegan industry?
That's not a
right?
proposition. That's a question.
I know. I'm telling you, your question, right? Why don't you apply it to the first? This assumption that's embedded in the first position is that why should vegans care about animal deaths at all? Why?
Well, wait, I don't even know if it's animal deaths that we're talking about. All it says is just crop agriculture relied
Why?
upon is more unethical than animal agriculture. I don't know if that is in reference to animal deaths or how much cotton candy can be produced. I have no
Great.
fucking clue.
Great. Why should anyone care about animal deaths, including vegans?
I don't know why you're talking about animal deaths.
So
Animal
here we
harm.
are, and the vegan is the one that's saying, why should we care about animal
Great.
deaths? You sound like Andrew.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait
Why?
a second.
Why?
I want to know why you think.
You're
I have a
arguing,
concept
you're
of why.
arguing the meat eater position
We
now.
don't-
No,
Nick.
I'm not.
We don't care.
No,
I
I'm not.
won. I win. Nick
got-
is finally not vegan anymore. He's arguing for animal death.
Wait. Garland,
Lost.
did I make an argument?
No, you don't have a position.
You declared that you do not care about animal deaths, correct?
When did I say that? Did I make an argument?
No, I don't think you made an argument. You asked a question of why should I care about animal deaths, right?
Well, no, I think the specific, if I misspoke, that's fine. But like the specific question I
Of course
asked
it
was,
is. It's fine if
why
you
are
mistake.
why are the vegans mentioned in the former half of the proposition? Why should they be concerned with what's mentioned in the latter half of the proposition?
And
that was my question.
And I said, why go that far? Why don't you just ask, why are they concerned with animal deaths?
That doesn't answer my fucking question.
Yeah, well, because you're skipping something. Why would I let you skip, right? Why don't you ask, why would they care about the animal deaths?
Let me ask the question differently. How does the first half of the proposition, the former half of the proposition, how does it interact? Because there's the word however, as if to say, but this. How do they interact? How are the two halves of the proposition interacting?
They're interacting in a meta-ethical position called we ought not harm animals.
Okay, so are you saying that vegans, so you're saying that vegans are taking some position, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the latter half of the proposition is with regards to something that's incompatible with that position, correct?
Because of ignorance.
No,
because of ignorance.
I said
because
it's worse
of
than
ignorance.
that. I also said it's worse than that. I said the first part of their position, they can't even justify their first part of the position.
So I'm not sure if I'm appreciating. I'm not sure if I'm appreciating.
I just told you. You asked if there's some relationship between the former and the latter of that statement, right? That there's some kind of inconsistency or hypocrisy, right? I'm saying it's worse than that. That the first part of the position, that we ought not harm animals, has no justification to begin with.
Oh no, we're not going down that road.
I know, right? Because that's what a vegan position would be.
Well, no, I'm not here to defend. I'm not here to defend.
Yeah,
I'm not here to defend a position, and I actually don't think that's what Garland meant when he wrote this. I don't think Garland's taking a meta-ethical position. I think this is you trying to derail the conversation into some pre-sub bullshit.
Yeah.
No, if there's a
Jim Bob
position
likes
at all,
doing that.
no.
No, it's very transparent.
No,
that
it's
that's
very
what he's
Jim
doing.
Bob. It's classic Jim. It's just, and we're slippery.
Really classic
we're slippery.
Pre-sup
nonsense. Guys, you don't get away from it. You know why? Because the moment you try to create some normative claim that X equals harm, right?
Wait.
Hold on. No, I'm talking, Nick.
Have we made a claim?
Shut up. Hey, no, shut up. I'm talking.
Have we made a claim?
Shut up. I'm talking. Don't interrupt me.
Have we made a claim though?
No.
Okay, then what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm saying that when Garland lays out the position, right, that we ought that the harms caused by one practice is actually outmatched by the latter, which would be the vegan practice. There would still be an underlying meta-ethical question. You can't escape it. It's not like pre-sup slippery. You can't escape meta-ethical positions. That's why you guys aren't taking a position, because you know that, and you'll get destroyed.
We're not taking a position right now because
you're cowards and you can't take a position.
No,
you've been a mini
Harry Potter.
We are
you
not
okay?
taking a position.
Yeah,
and
Are you on crack?
We're not defending a position here.
So Garland is
Garland
defending
put a proposition on the table, and we're calling it into question.
Yeah,
guys, we're actually out of time for the debate. We're actually out of time for the debate. We've argued so much over the proposition.
Well done for
Garland
dodging.
couldn't answer a simple question.
Yeah.
We never got to the debate. Well,
This was a good dodge.
I feel like there was some sneaky stuff going on. Just saying.
What, like PC talking in private chat, trying to give some ideas of what to say?
I feel like there was some sneaky stuff going on. But the thing is like
what?
I don't fucking care. It's great entertainment for my I don't care. But what I am saying is this is like, look, I knew how this was going to end up going down, right? So the thing is that this is why I recommend to everybody who's out there, Avi can come on here, Ask Yourself come on here. I like both those guys. I've been friends with them for a while. I talk to them all the time and often, right? But just understand that if anybody from their community doesn't have a position on something, this is what the debate always ends up being. So just letting you guys know, like, this is how it works in real time. Garland didn't know that, and Garland's not gauged in the philosophy broing bullshit like all of us are. So that's why I brought in Jim Bob, to make it fair across the board so that we would understand how this works in real time. Anyway, thanks for coming on. In any case, the audience had a bunch of questions, though. Would you guys mind taking some of those?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, the vegans don't have to. It's up to you, but I'm sure they have questions.
I don't particularly have an interest, sorry.
Yeah, I was here for like a purpose of like getting through the proposition that Garland delivered. I didn't know that he would get so hung up on not
I
actually
got
answering.
hung up. I'm the one. You're the one that agreed to the original proposition, and
Yeah,
now
and
you guys got hung up on it.
and Nick was
You,
just
you guys look horrible. You
We-
look absolutely horrible.
What,
You look
because
like a
we
couple of
are
gaslighters. And your gaslighting skills
the
absolutely
gaslighting. It's classic,
You
really.
look pathetic. Both of you are absolutely
You're a
pathetic.
gaslighter, says the gaslighter.
So just to recap, it's like, okay, Garland refused to ask the question or refused to answer the question, and then Jim Bob tried to pre-sup us, and he didn't get very far.
Yeah, and just to be
with
clear,
that,
we
fucking peace out.
were called slippery,
Whoa, wow,
and
Nick.
then someone was brought in without our prior knowledge. But you know,
You look so intellectually dishonest. It's shameful.
I'm a better vegan. I'm a vegan
Both of
right
you
now.
are pathetic.
yeah.
I'm actually a vegan right now, which is hilarious. I have
And-
better
and
vegan.
how you
hang on.
represent
Before you go vegan, like, listen, you really are welcome to come back on here whenever for a good faith debate. Okay, just understand. I kind of knew the way that this pathway was going. I have no ill will towards you whatsoever. You seem like a very pleasant person,
Oh, thank you.
and if you do want to stick around and just talk some callers, I think that you'll probably enjoy yourself a little bit more now that there's no debate. Just give it a shot.
It would have been fine, but like it's weird to kind of assert that I've been slippery when someone
Not
was
you.
brought.
Not you.
I just.
I'm
Oh, sorry. I've got
specifically
a
not
tag
saying
for
you.
my. I've got a tag for my team though. Like, I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
you know, if it's unfair and everything, I don't want to be the one person versus two still, because it would carry on.
Yeah, no, but the other way around, it was okay.
Yeah. Well, no, because Garland said, I don't need a debate partner. That was the assumption. Like, let's not be cheeky, all right?
L, do you debate people where you do make a positive position?
Yeah, sometimes, but he
Okay.
made a proposition. But
I understand.
yeah, like I
Okay.
would take a position if I was defending a proposition. But yeah, I just don't know what the problem is with asking for clarification.
Can I make a suggestion? Al?
No, because what I'm going to do is, because you didn't answer
The
the
next
first
time-
question
the
was
next
given.
time
Bye.
someone-
Oh, what a ding dong. Jesus fucking Christ. You can't see me right now. Let me just deal with that. Fucking hell. What an absolute dodging. Oh, I'm gone again. Am I flipped? Looks weird that way. Holy shit. So, oh my God, I'm going to turn on. I'm going to turn on the TTS. Jesus Christ.
Appreciate it. R.I.P. your sleep.
Oh, I'll play these in just a second. I just want to clarify. So what they've done is, because Nick is from the Ask Yourself crew, they've just assumed he's going to be slippery. That's what they've done. They've just assumed, oh my God, you're Ask Yourself crew, you're going to be slippery. So they've brought someone else and been slippery themselves without the understanding. And then they've played a game for an hour plus to not actually have the debate. They said, we know how this is going to go. They knew where it was going to go in their minds. So what I believe they've done is they've spent that entire time stuck on the position, not answering the question, because if we go down that route, they'll get fucked. That's what's happened. Pain. Right, hang on. Let me put on the TTS. Jesus Christ. Veggie Taniki.
I said I'm a lesbian.
Do you like my new...
Veggie Tanuki the lad tipped £100. Jesus, that was painful, but I'm glad you both held strong on making them own their positive claim. But, of course, they couldn't do that because there's nothing to substantiate it. R.I.P. your sleep.
Thank you so much, Veggie Taniki. That is... Yeah, they don't have anything to substantiate, and I think they knew that. But I've just been invited to... Can we get some salads in the chat? Jesus Christ.
But I guess the other thing you could have said like, in what way is it arbitrary? I don't know if you asked that specifically or.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
You're whispering to me.
Yeah, that was fucking
That
crazy.
I wanted to kill myself the entire time.
Garland is
Yeah,
such
I
a
was
dishonest piece of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
he's a
just
fucking slimeball.
I was just saying to my chat that I think that because Andrew said we know where this is going to go, I think they thought, what can we do to just not address the fucking line of questioning? Like,
Well, Andrew was a fucking cunt because he's not even a moderator. Like he was clearly taking sides. He was a shit fucking moderator.
No, Andrew's like everybody on the Crucible is like a shitty moderator and a shitty debater. Like that's why I don't associate with them because they're completely uninteresting to me.
I'm sorry. Do you know I'm streaming, by the way? I feel like I should have said that.
Oh no, it's all good. I don't care if any of this is public.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I think if pretty much everybody on that platform is a gibberish generator, that's my honest opinion.
I'm a lesbian.
Yeah. Oh,
VG the lad tipped £3. That's for covering for vegan gains tonight.
I got a recording of that for my channel at least.
Did you record? By any chance, did you record your backstage conversation with Andrew?
I sure did.
Oh, fucking excellent.
Thank God you did, because I
Yeah.
wasn't live yet. I made the mistake of assuming that they weren't going to be come to. Oh my God.
Because it was like it's if you have that recording, then you just basically have proof that fucking Garland didn't pull you up on the misconception, and he intentionally just let it slide.
Yeah, Andrew also signed off on Garland having the burden of proof, and he also simultaneously signed on got kind of pissy with us for like pressing Garland about his burden of proof. So it was really weird.
And I don't know who was saying it in the private chat, but someone was saying, just answer Garland, just say yes or no. It might have been
I
Andrew.
think whoever was there, like they understood that Garland was being kind of slippery.
And then they were
Wait,
like,
Avi's going on the Crucible? Sorry.
Oh, what now?
No, Dillo's saying that Avi is going on the Crucible?
Like now?
I don't know.
I challenged everyone there to post physique and they blocked me and put me in timeout.
Wait,
I love you.
He's going on right now?
No way.
Holy
Can
shit.
someone stream it?
Holy
like
fuck.
to the
Yeah.
VC?
Holy fuck!
We need this.
I think Ask Yourself and Avi were probably watching this stuff together in a private stream or something.
Oh, nice. I would love to see fucking Avi debate him. It would probably end the same way, though.
The burden of proof switching was terrible. I mean, it's so
Spiral the
bloody
lad
obvious. The
tipped
guy in
£5.
blue, Jim Bob. It's like so obvious. What
I
he's doing.
know.
Jim Bob is a fucking slimy cunt.
And the way they were like, everyone can see what you're doing, and then called us gaslighters. It's like the tact.
Yeah, it was such a. He was brought in. I think he was getting frustrated with Garland. He was just brought in for interference.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knew what the fuck he was talking about.
And just to be clear, like, never, like, literally, there is a thread in, like, my Penguin Zero video, and I screenshotted it. Garland said, I don't need a debate partner. Like, it was in my fucking opening, like, to say, oh, he said he didn't want one, just to explain the difference in the opponent numbers. And then Andrew was, like, smirking and was like, look who I brought in. It's just, like, cringe.
Fucking Andrew asking Nick about like hypothetically, if it was an argument from hypocrisy, like is that the fucking proposition or is it not? Like, is that the argument you're making, or are you just gonna fucking talk about hypotheticals all the time?
Fucking crazy, like, just it's 3:30 in the morning.
Like sometimes if I want to go easy on somebody, I'll say to I'll let them do that. Like if you notice, I did that with Joey, where he's like, well, what would you say if I went down this path and I took this position? And I told him what I would say. And then, he'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I don't like where that leads. Okay, what would you say if I took this other position? And then I would tell him what I would say. And he'd be like, oh, well, I don't like that either. Like I did that with Joey. And sometimes I'm nice enough to do that. But in this case, I was like, no, I'm not going to fucking play that stupid game.
No wonder he was.
Was Joey is Carnival Camaraderie?
Yeah.
Or someone else? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Dinkono the lad tipped £3. This debate proceeded exactly as in Avi and A versus J. Dyer and Tristan. 100%. Carney's wasted time on dodging clarifying questions.
Foghorn City.
Props to
That'd
you
be
and Nick
amazing.
in remaining
But
steadfast.
the part when Jim Bob was trying to, I mean, this happened multiple times where he was trying to take.
Oh, you cut out?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
The part where he was taking Garland's proposition and trying to turn it into some kind of Christian precept, like meta-ethical critique.
Yeah.
Was really funny.
Yeah. He kept
Because if you looked at Garland,
and it's like,
Garland
Oh,
had
shit.
no idea what the fuck any of that meant.
Obvious,
exactly.
obvious backstage. Obvious backstage.
Oh shit. Oh nice. Fuck yeah.
Oh my
Although I
god.
imagine the Arby's is
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm gonna deafen and mute. Hold on.
Yeah, he was trying to turn it into like a meta-ethical debate. It's so easy to drag people into that, and it's so dishonest because it's like
it's also not
like
clear
talking
how
about-
it was
well, I
meta-ethical.
mean, yeah, it's like when people say, "Let's talk about the Second World War." Say, "Well, actually, Napoleon is probably the Second World War." Like you can make the argument, but like, holy shit, why would you do that? We're talking about the Second World War, you know?
Thank you so much, Debug Your Brain. I appreciate that. I'm going to put the Discord where everyone's talking right now if you want to come on in and give
Well, I'd be
your
probably to the
opinion.
Arby debate. Although I don't know if it would be, I don't know if it would be any better or not.
They're just going to be scrappy and slimy and
So
do the same shit.
wait, is it happening now?
Pretty
Or is it
much.
just
I mean,
backstage?
I imagine Andrew's a bitch about him like being an Ask Yourself affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, like that was like apparent right off the hop. They were like, "Oh, if you're associated with Ask Yourself, you know, you can expect like
it's like-
weasel
it's not
moves
even-
or whatever, and just poisoning the well."
It's not even relevant. Like, can you like discuss the argument or not?
Ignorant to the
And notice how I didn't even engage with any of that shit. I just said, "I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about that." You know, like what
Yeah, and
else
then
am I supposed
Garland
to do?
was- yeah. Garland was saying that you look pathetic, but in reality you look very respectful.
Yeah, I was being the cunt. If anybody.
No, but I mean, I like the duality of the energy. Like,
And I'm the one who's like really sleepy. Come on.
I mean, to be
I
fair,
lost my shit
Vegan Gaze-
once.
Vegan Gaze started off pretty polite, and then
I did, and then
I
it-
think when you were given a reason to lose your cool.
Well, Jim
you know,
Bob's
you
just a
did, and that-
prick. Like, he deserves it. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
I mean, I kind of feel bad. I tried to keep it together, but I lost my shit once. I was like, I'm asking the fucking question.
I'm pretty sure I said to him, if you want to just not be a cunt for a second or something like that. I don't even know.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then he was like, bottle of water. Oh, I am British. It's very funny.
Oh god, that was cringe.
I know.
I actually, I physically cringed.
I felt my asshole just leave this planet. I was like, cool. Time to shit and die.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Are they gonna let Avi on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah.
Kel.
Yes,
You've said it 5 times.
What? Wait, what? Oh,
We
shit, I'm
can- we can
behind.
hear
I'm
you, yeah.
behind. I'm behind. Yo. Be a salad like Harry Potter.
I'm sorry for him.
Right? Yo, that guy was mad, you know.
He was mad.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, Jim Bob's he's just a clown. Like I knew the second Jim Bob's the second his picture popped up, I just knew it was gonna be trash. Like the whole thing it's gonna go to garbage because Jim Bob is just gonna try to figure out whatever way he possibly can to pre-sup. Even like trying to twist this like proposition from
Trash
Garland
Barkers, for that,
Farms
by the
into some
way.
kind of meta-ethical position was just like really fucking cringe. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you
Ugly
like
face.
you're trying to pre-sup and like your launching pad for your pre-sup bullshit couldn't be like worse.
Yo, I reckon that
It doesn't have to necessarily be meta-ethical either. Like he's
Vader
literally
more
just
than the
assuming
lad
that it's like
tipped
going to be a
20
meta-ethical argument.
pounds.
Could just like
Yo. Yeah, that whole thing was planned, I reckon. The sound went off shit. Someone said something.
Nick, what was the actual proposition? Because it wasn't entirely clear.
I'm a
Okay.
lesbian.
Ducky the lad tipped £1. Do these people do not understand what the word clarification means?
No, and apparently it's a fucking horrible thing to do, you know? It's just amazing. Thank you for all these tips, by the way. I'm just catching up. And thank you, Debug Your Brain. I'm so lost right now. Can we get some salads in the chat for everybody who like tipped? I'm so sorry, I'm very sleepy, so I'm like not as attentive as I would be, but I just want to make fucking sense of this bullshit.
Is justified or whatever, they will ask you what your position is, and they will rely upon you not having a clear enough concept of your own position on the matter. If you even take a position on the matter, even if you don't take a position on the matter, that works for them because they're like, oh, well, fuck, you don't even have a position, right? Like, and they make it seem like their position, whatever the fuck their position is just, it wins by default in virtue of the fact that you fumbled on your position. Now, that's like the pre-supper handbook move, right? I don't let that happen. Like, the burden of proof is on them 100% of the time, and I don't allow it to get flipped.
Yeah, Nick, there were multiple points at which you guys are being accused by Jim Bob of not giving a position because you, quote, knew it was arbitrary, like meta-ethically, when in reality you just weren't giving one because the fucking the proposition was made to be defended by Garland. And like that loop happened like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, because he's
I
a
just wanted to
pre-supper.
fucking scream. Yeah,
like, because he's a pre-supper and he's trying to lure me into the pre-supper dialogue tree, and I'm just not letting it happen because I know where that goes.
Which is incredibly ironic that Andrew is like bitching about the AY community tactics when it's pretty much like, you know, I don't see how their tactic is even that much different to what they're accusing you of, really.
Like, I don't even know what is meant by like the AY debate tactic. Does he mean just like semantic analysis? Is that all he means by that?
Yeah, I know. Like, that's what I said to him.
Seeking clarity is a debate tactic.
Like, like, I said like in the chat before, like anyone who's ever seen your debates knows, like, you know how it goes. You're not dishonest or anything. You're and it's very clear, like to I mean, specifically now I know the debate proposition that you're trying to get clarity so you can understand what the argument even is, so you can go from there. And it just wasn't fucking going through because I wanted to whine about.
I think they were just super butthurt that me, like as Andrew said, I'm not like, he thinks I'm not versed in philosophy whatsoever, which is true. So I brought on Nick and I think they were pissed off about that. So yeah, I hope, I don't know how you feel about my performance, Nick, but I hope I didn't fuck you up too much.
No, you did fine. Did you notice the part where I asked fucking Garland Farms? I asked Garland Farms when we were backstage, and I asked you like what you meant by Andrew asked me like what my interpretation of the proposition was, and I gave my interpretation of the proposition. Garland did not respond at all. He didn't push back. He didn't do anything. And it's like, if I was wrong in my interpretation, why didn't you say that at the time? And he stared at the fucking, like, he stared at his screen just like dead silent for about 10 or 12 seconds before Jim Bob bailed him out and started rambling. Like, he had no fucking answer for that. Like, dude, we talked about this backstage. Andrew asked me, what do you think the proposition, like, what do you think the proposition is? I gave him my interpretation. Garland was there and he didn't say a fucking word.
Yeah, which really makes me think.
Oh yeah, I recorded. I can play it for you guys right now. Fuck.
Play it.
Yeah,
because
please do.
This is what makes me
just for a little bit of clarification. When Canadians say fuck, it's just another way of putting an exclamation point at the end of the sentence.
But yeah, that's what makes me think the fact that he didn't say anything.
Yeah, you're not Harry Potter, bro.
Them assuming that Ellie was somehow Australian.
I know.
That also cracked me out.
Good eye, mate.
Like, just tell yourself, just convince yourself that you're not educated.
Absolutely. No.
Okay,
Nah, she just sounds posh though, still.
Okay, can you guys see my VLC right now? Can you guys see my screen? Let me try to turn it up. Here, just watch this shit. I'm fucking pretty sure that I'm not like just making this up.
All right. Now I at least understand the proposal. And then Nick, do you agree? You agree to that proposal, that proposition?
Yeah, it just sounds like kind of like a hypocrisy critique. Just that vegans are
It's right
saying that
there.
they value one thing and then they're behaving in a way that seems antithetical to those values. It seems like just a standard kind of hypocrisy
fuckers.
critique.
Okay, gotcha. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Sounds good. So they acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
he was right there. He didn't say a fucking word.
It looked like his brain was off. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, this is what makes me really think they had no intention of actually engaging with the line of questioning at all. I think this was a
they
whole
just wanted
game,
to figure out a way to dodge it.
and that's why they were so focused on our apparent slipperiness and our tactics, because they had it all. I think it's quite crystal clear what happened here. It's cringe as fuck.
There were some points where I wanted one of you guys to like ask Garland if he knew what Jim Bob was even getting at with like the pre-sub stuff, just to see how him be like, I have no fucking idea.
Avi's on.
Oh,
Does someone
shit.
want to play it?
You should be like, hey, do you know what your partner is getting at? He's not really making much sense to me.
Is someone gonna play the Abby?
It's in the watch together thing. It's the activity.
I don't use Discord anymore. I've forgotten. I'll just deafen. Let's hear it here.
Upstairs and reset my computer. All right, cool. All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
It'll take like probably 2 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We got you. Adam, real quick before Avi comes back on, go ahead with your question, sir.
Okay. He's gone. Damn it. No one's talking, that's right. Please share the stream on your screen if you can. Okay, hold up. What I'll do is make the Google Meet window for you. Get rid of the display option. Why is that doing that right now? Why are you doing that? Oh, that's me being dafty. Okay, cool. Sorry about this, guys. Technical issues. I'm so tired, you don't even know, guys. Keep it going though for the fun of it, hey? I was ready to actually have a debate and I didn't get it today, so I'm very unsatisfied. So what will satisfy me is Abby having a chat. 100%. I can't fucking see. Like I'm blind right now. Holy shit. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold up.
Fucking dishonest debate tactics when it's literally the most courteous thing you could be doing, and
yeah,
time-saving thing. But I mean, whatever.
You will look at in the chat. Name the trade is the most dishonest arguments ever like made for debates. It's like, wait, name the trade's not an argument. It's a fucking question.
It's a question.
I mean, it's such a fucking question. Oh my god, this is why I don't fuck with the Crucible, man. Like, they're just cringe.
I am so sorry.
They're just like an endless fucking like quagmire of cuckery.
Especially when it comes to veganism. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, they're supposed to, the last time I saw your supposed appearance, or one that you were supposed to appear in, that was the first time I've ever seen like a moderator like actually trying to pin someone down, or like while they were moderating. It was kind of unprecedented.
I was under no delusions that Andrew's actually a moderator.
No.
Yeah.
Andrew's not a moderator. He is like...
If I like you, I'll do my job.
Well, because I fucking asked for moderation twice and he did nothing. He's not there as a fucking moderator.
It was basically a 3v2. I mean...
Yeah,
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of, you know, them TV debates where like Joey Carbstrong and that they go on the TV. It's like two farmers, right, and then the two what do you call them? Two presenters. Like, yeah, it's like 4v1 on the TV show. It reminds me of that.
Always rigged.
What? He didn't know his own proposition.
Wait, what? What's he saying?
That's my favorite, right?
Yeah.
How could you possibly complain to me about what's fair? But Adam, thank you so much. Appreciate the call. Do you have anything you want to follow it up with?
Well, have a good Lent, I guess.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's all. Thank you for answering my question.
Can end your life. Sorry.
No problem.
Extreme
Perspective
dick.
philosophy. I do see you back there. You can use the private chat.
Oh, PP going on?
Avi said that he was switching over to his computer, and I feel like you probably have a lot that you want to say, and I don't want to bring you on and then have to drag you right back off, because Avi pops in the second I bring you on. Can you just put like a 2 in chat that you hear all this okay, or something like that? Okay, all right. And unless you want me to bring you on right now, PP, in which case put a 1, but I'll have to limit your time.
He'll just start debating Avi probably, and then you
I
don't
don't
want to do
do
that.
that. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Like it's up to you, whichever way you want to do it, man.
Should we make this a long boy?
There's perspective philosophy. Bring me on, and okay, gotcha. Okay, PP, thank you so
God.
much for waiting.
We're all
patiently in the
going in,
background.
boys.
I know that this is actually probably prime time for you, right? Because you're on a different time zone.
This
So it
is,
was nice.
yeah, this
Nice
is
to catch
4
you.
a.m.
Yeah, it
This
was
is
nice.
4 a.m.
Nice.
for me.
Nice to catch you. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not going to be on for long anyway, with it being so early or late, depending upon how you'd like to view it. But thank you for having us on, and you know, with probably right, I probably will start debating Avi. No doubt.
There he is.
Looking forward to it.
There we go.
Hi, Avi.
How you doing?
I mean, to be fair, I'm happy to even just you know, like me and Avi, I'm sure I could reinforce each other's points on this anyway. I guess what I was just coming on to say that I think that without really defending the vegan arguments that were already given, instead present an argument against Garland's, which is to ask the question as to why, when we're concerned with crop deaths, he thinks that the vegan diet or the vegan lifestyle would produce, let's say, greater amounts of animal suffering and death than an omnivorous diet, when we have to grow plants to feed animals in order to then kill those animals. So if we look at the numbers of crop deaths, it's actually largely due to the fact that we are growing crops to then feed animals to then kill those animals. So it is worse all round. And and as a secondary point, do you see the difference between, let's say, an inadvertent or an unintentional consequence and an intentional and deliberate consequence?
Okay, let's address the first part of that. You're saying that crops are being grown exclusively to feed livestock, correct?
Some crops, yes, that there is a lot of crops being grown to feed livestock.
So you sound like you know what you're talking about. Can you tell us specifically what crops you're referring to?
Largely, it is soy, corn, and cereals, which is why it's actually subsidized so much. It ties into animal agriculture.
Alfalfa. So soy is not exclusively grown for.
No, I don't. No, of course not. But the majority of soy is.
Yes, that's correct. The majority of both by calories and by gram weight do actually end up going.
Is this a question for me, or is Abby going to get to sit here and spew disinformation?
He wasn't saying. He was just making sure that I was speaking.
Because I've got the facts. If you want to hear the facts.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
please, yes.
How many animals died for this potato?
Abby, shut up.
Hey! There's no reason. Hey, the guy's being polite. I don't see the reason.
Well, because he's saying things that are not true.
Wait, what
he
did I
didn't say anything other than agree with my point. If you've got something to refute my point,
what did I say that wasn't true?
Okay. Only 7% of the soy that's grown is grown exclusively for livestock feed. 7%.
Wait,
Well, that's a lie, but
wait. Hold on. What did I say that wasn't true? That's actually not incompatible with what I said because I didn't.
Yeah, you said most soy is grown to feed livestock.
What I said, most soy most soy by calories and by mass end up going to feed livestock. I didn't say it's grown exclusively for it.
Okay, well that's misleading. That's misleading because here's the truth. You ready?
Wait, so are we clear that I did not say something that was false?
The way that you're wording it sounds like there's a majority of soybeans going to livestock.
What I said, to be again, that I wasn't misleading. I was very clear. I said both by grams and by calories, the majority of soy product does go to animals.
No, what you're doing is you're trying to paint
Okay,
the
I'm back.
picture.
Sorry. Is Avi in there now? Oh,
you're gonna need to
philosophy.
let me
Oh, my
speak,
fucking
Abby.
God. Hold on.
All right, I'll just wait for you to answer the question.
Thank you very much.
I mean, because since you accused me of making false
At
claims,
some point, you're going to have to stop speaking.
At least I know his opinion.
Yeah, false or
I
not.
think you're just being rude now.
No, I continue to try to speak, and both of you are trying to speak over me.
No,
All right,
we're
okay,
not.
go ahead, Garland.
Okay, thank you.
Shot. Go ahead.
Thank you. 90% of the soybeans that are grown, and it can vary. Some years it's 85%, some years it's 90%, some years it's more than 90%, but around 90% of every soybean that's cultivated in the world is processed to extract the oil. The oil goes for around 50 cents a pound. The inedible fibrous waste that's left over is called soy meal or soy cake, and it goes for about 17 cents a pound. The soybean oil that's extracted from 90% of the soybeans is 100% consumed by human beings, either as cooking oil, ingredients in ultra-processed foods, or used as feedstock for the production of biofuel, biodiesel. And cows do not use biodiesel. You won't see a cow driving a milk truck. It's human beings that are consuming biodiesel. And so human beings are consuming 100% of the oil that's extracted from 90% of the soybeans. So perspective philosophy tried to paint the picture that without animal agriculture, soybean agriculture would decrease. But because we're extracting the oil out of 90% of all the soybeans in the world, and 100% of that oil is being consumed by human beings, then this was the question that my former opponents would not answer. I asked them, if we snap our fingers and remove livestock from the earth right now, how much would that, knowing that we're extracting?
I did ask if he was on crack. That's my bad.
Soybeans in the world, and human beings are consuming 100% that oil. How much are you going to decrease soybean agriculture, destructive soybean agriculture, by omitting livestock? And the answer is on the first layer of that, at best, is going to be 7% or 7%, because only 7% of the soybeans are grown exclusively to feed livestock.
Okay, so we do disagree with this, and I do have the data to breaking that down, accounting for the oil that's extracted, and we can go through that if you'd like. So I do disagree with what you just said. So, but first, couple layers of disagreement there. So my understanding is actually not 100% of the soy that's extracted goes for human purposes, but it is the majority, about 88%. In fact, that's the typical claim, around 88% of the oil, not 100%. But even
no, you got to now account for the other 12%. Where does the other 12% go?
So there are different layers of defatted meals. So there's some of the oil does remain in the soy cakes. So that
I'm talking about the extracted oil.
Oh, okay. So I understand what you're saying now. Okay, cool. But the point is that even if you account for the extracted oil, the the oil that remains, even remember what the claim is. The claim is that
No, what we're talking about is
I let you go, please. I let you go on and on. If you'd let me just respond to what you've said.
Go ahead and try to gaslight me.
Go ahead, Avi.
No, I think I'm being pretty fair.
Paranoia. But okay.
So the point is that for example, if you take 100 grams of soybeans, even if 15% go to humans, which is about 66.6 calories. 100 grams of soybeans is 20 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, 36 grams of protein. If you do the math, that's about the percentage of calories to humans for soy fed to livestock comes out to be about 40.5%, and then the calories to humans would per 100 grams would be 219 calories, and the calories to animals would be 224. And I can go through the math yourself, but the point, I'm happy to go through the data and go through the math, but the point is that even if you account for the oil that's extracted from a given amount of mass of soybeans that are grown, even if you account for what the extracted oil, the majority of the calories of soy do end up going to animals. So the point there is just that, yes, I understand what you're saying, and yes, you are correct that it's not just, we don't just grow soy just for animals. I agree with you. What I am saying is that the majority of calories from soy do end up going to animals, even accounting for the oil extraction.
This is what Nick
and so it's not just going to be 7% of a difference. That doesn't give us reason to believe it's just going to be a 7% differential if with the elimination of animal agriculture. You could roll your hands all you like and you can flap your arms. You've actually been rambling a lot longer than I have. So you can try the rhetoric, but you're not actually. But I'd like you to actually address my rebuttal.
And just to quickly sort of reinforce that point, it was a study done by Oxford University which showed that we could reduce our farmland usage by up to 70% if we adopted a plant-based diet. So this isn't something that Avi's making up on the spot. This is credible and well researched.
Actually, no, that's a claim that you can't back up. That's just simply a claim. And also, you're not addressing the fact that the majority of agricultural acreage is considered and labeled, categorized as non-arable. In other words, it will not support crops. You want to remove animals from non-arable property. What you're doing is you're removing the one thing that's adding life-sustaining fertilizers.
Yes, but
wait, I can address that.
Let me ask you to this question.
Hold on. You just made it. No, I'm not going to let you get away with that claim, because this is a very commonly cited claim that the majority of land is arable and therefore we need to grow cows there because we couldn't grow plants there. If you actually know, do you know what study that ends up tracking back to? That study ends up tracking back to a study that defines the arability or suitability as the threshold of the 25% yield. But they only apply that threshold to plants, and they don't apply that threshold to cattle. So, if you actually apply the same threshold to cattle, you find that the majority of land that is claimed to be suitable for cattle wouldn't actually be suitable for cattle either. And so it's an apples to orange comparison that this claim is propagated for in the first place. And I can take you to that study if you like. Yes, you haven't. No, you clearly haven't read the study. I know you haven't, because you don't know which study it ends up tracking back to. If you'd like to,
it's also
do that as well.
Well, hang on. Let Garland respond. Go ahead, Garland.
Garland, do you know what study it's from?
It's nearly just as painful.
Do you know the paper?
Just listening.
That your claim originates from?
I've seen a lot of papers, and a lot of the papers.
Did I tap out?
I'm sorry. What did you interrupt me with?
Yeah, I'm just asking because I'm asking you if you were familiar with the paper that your claim originated from.
That's arbitrary. Let's talk about the facts.
No,
it's not arbitrary.
Claim. I'm asking you if you're familiar with the paper where your claim originated.
He's been coached. He's been coached.
Tell me who funded the study, and I'll tell you whether I've seen it.
It was my knowledge is actually a pro-animal agriculture. but
I asked you who funded it.
Yeah,
you're the one making the claim. So
no, you're the one asking me about a specific study.
Can we get an answer?
I want to know who funded the study.
He's been
I'm
coached,
asking,
hasn't he?
listen, you made
Can
it
you not
empirical.
answer that
You
question?
made it empirical. You made it
Oh, bless
empirical.
him.
It's my
So
job
you
to tell
can't
if I'm
answer
just-
the question.
Yeah, no, I can't answer the
I
question, but
think
I'd like you
you're
to
being-
answer mine. I'm asking you if you're familiar with the paper.
I'm telling you that I'm not
Can you
sure if I've
cite
seen
your
this
own-
specific
look,
study that you're talking about.
Are you familiar
cite
with
your
any?
own
I do not
argument?
see.
Are you familiar with any paper?
It's,
It's
look, if I
so
wrote an essay, look,
clear.
if I wrote an essay to a university and I was like, just take me word for it, don't
It's
worry,
so
I
clear
have the
what's
data,
happening
it's
here.
somewhere
Oh
on my
my-
Google Drive, you know, like it wouldn't go anywhere. What he's asking you is, do you have any knowledge? Like he's not even asking you for a link or anything like that. He's just saying, do you know, let's say the paper name, the paper, the source of the paper, where did you acquire this information from? That's all he's asking you.
Of course
Yeah,
not.
And
no,
then-
no,
step
well,
in.
hang on. We
Oh,
get it,
what?
but he did answer. He's not sure that he's seen the study. Where do you
Oh,
guys want to
damn.
move on?
Wait,
It's
wait,
his-
no,
it's
he
his
didn't say that.
claim.
Wait,
And
that's not fair. He said he's not because he said but he's seen multiple ones. So I'm asking him if he's
Look,
if
he
he's familiar
didn't
with
clarify
any
that he
paper.
wouldn't
And by
put
the way, I
in.
know that
It'd
it
be
tracks
unfair.
back to one. So he's bullshitting on the whole multiple thing also. There's maybe some others that cited that one, but I know it all tracks back to one.
Okay, let's
Because I'm
back up.
familiar with this literature, and I know you're not.
Let's
So-
back up. What percent of soybeans are processed to extract the oil every year?
I'm happy to talk about that when you're willing to answer my question. So my question is again, are you familiar with any paper for which your claim that you've just made originates from?
What do you mean by paper? Right? Or
Okay,
is this,
so what do I
is
mean
this,
by yeah, sure.
is this
No,
one of
I know
those?
by paper? I mean by a peer-reviewed resource, like it published in an academic journal. Like if you, I mean, are we really like not sure what we mean by paper here? I mean, I'm happy to define it. It's fine.
Clown.
Okay.
True.
Do we need a scientific paper to come up with what percentage of the world's soybeans are processed for the oil every year?
Asking,
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, you probably would rely
I'm just
upon
asking again.
a peer-reviewed resource.
Or can those be statistics that are published by government
I'm
entities?
just going to ask again because I'm not going to let you dodge.
This
I'm
is
just
how you
gonna
win
ask
every time,
again,
just be a
since you
conspiracy
made
theorist.
this claim. I'm just going to ask if you're familiar with the literature, okay, for which your claim originates from.
Are you a dodge again? Holy shit.
Yes, I
You
am.
know, it's okay. You are. So which paper is it?
I just told you that, yes, I'm familiar with the literature from which I pulled my paper. Have you ever heard of the,
Share that.
have you ever heard of the
I know it, but I'm
soybean
not gonna
crush
tell you.
spread?
Can you share the? Yeah. What paper is it?
Have you ever heard of the soybean crush spread?
Can you share the? Instead of asking me questions, what paper is it? Since you've made the
Have you ever heard of the soybean crush spread?
made the claim. I'm asking for your evidence.
Well, hang on, just to make sure I got clarity, so we're not in this endless loop.
Yeah, with the clarity again.
Are you pulling this from, or these facts from a scientific something? Are you pulling it from the Department of Agriculture, or where are you getting kind of your facts, Garland?
You can even get this information from Our World Data.
Does he mean
That is the
so loud in
literature that was published by the entity that's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Even they admit that 90% of the soybeans are processed to extract the oil.
Yeah. So can
100% of the oil is consumed by human beings.
Look, but I think you don't understand the rebuke for that. The rebuke was the majority of the calories, even if the humans are consuming the fat, soy is not mostly made of fat, and the majority of the calories.
We already.
That's already been rebuked. The second claim was on arable land.
Please.
Sorry, yeah.
I just want to highlight just what happened right there. What happened right there is so there were two claims that Garland made. The first claim was that was about the majority of soy going to cattle or not. And the second claim was about the aridity of the land.
Debate
and
Bros, the
suitability
lad
for
tipped £3.
So what happened there is I was
so many
pressing
vegan
him
debates
on his
united.
literature
Awesome
supporting
stream
his
Melly.
empirical claim on the second claim because I already addressed
I've done it again.
It's a level 0 Carnus.
Demon Mama
I
round.
already addressed it. Then when I pressed him on the second
Thank you,
claim,
Debate
he
Bros.
just jumped back to the first claim. So I want to highlight that. He didn't provide
In the
evidence.
chat.
Can I speak for a moment?
Real data for the first claim when
Please
I'm
don't.
asking him for evidence for the second claim.
So they're actually not contesting that 90%, around 90% of the soybeans.
We're talking about the first claim when I'm asking him for his evidence about the second claim.
Mm,
How about you
well,
provide evidence for your second claim?
So you guys are not actually contesting that 90% of the soybeans are processed to extract the oil.
we don't
by
need to
calories?
contest.
Absolutely, I'm contesting it. I already contested it. I broke down the math of why that's
Okay,
fine.
then what percent of the soybeans are processed to extract the oil?
I don't think
it's slightly over, slightly under by calories, slightly under 50%.
By calories, what do you mean? I mean, we're talking about soybeans.
So a calorie is a unit of energy.
No, I'm asking you specifically about the soybean.
Yeah, I'm talking about by
So
calories.
what percentage of the world's soybeans are subject every year to processing in order to extract the oil?
I answered the question. Slightly under 50% by calories of soybeans.
If I can reach my goal, by
No,
the
I'm
way,
not asking you by calories.
find
I'm
a
asking you
loophole
by
like Garland.
soybean.
To start
Mate,
eating
you
animals.
can literally say, like, if you are saying 50% of the calories of soybean, that
I'm
is
so
literally just
close.
removing the fibrous.
I need the
fibrous,
loophole
No,
to eat
no.
like
animals.
Here's the
non-digestible point.
difference. I used this analogy before. Is that did you know that the shell of a pecan can weigh up to 60% of the pecan?
Okay, by mass, yes. By mass, it'll be different. I'd have to calculate it, but it's not 70%.
Okay.
It's not the figure that you're talking about. I
You
can calculate it. Listen. So I don't. My answer is, if you're
It makes sense now.
Can I
That's
answer?
why it goes on
I'll
about
answer your
pecans all the time.
If you're insisting that I do it by mass, including fibrous components instead of protein.
No, I'm asking you to do it per soybean. That's what I keep asking
There's
you.
different ways of measuring. Holy shit! There's different ways of measuring soybeans. It's by mass, by calories.
I'm telling you that I'm measuring by soybean.
Numbers of soybeans.
Why are you afraid to answer the soybean question?
I've been answering multiple times.
Hey, sorry about this.
I've been answering it by mass.
But I'm sorry to cut in. Jim Bob, though, he has to go. He was only here for a couple hours. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Jim Bob. Before you go, can you shout your channel out to everybody where they can find you?
My regular channel is made by Jim Bob. That's shut down for a week or so. You can find me at Comfy. And made by Jim Bob is my Instagram account.
Can we get some clowns in the chat?
Perspective. Thanks for jumping on. I was looking forward to talking to you. We'll set up.
Yeah,
we'll make sure our debate happens. Sorry that
Yeah.
it's been drawn out for so long.
No, it's okay. I understand you had stuff on, and obviously the times I was available weren't ideal for you either. So
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll sort it out.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jim Bob. Take care of yourself, man. Have a great
Thank
day.
you so much for gifting 5 memberships.
Just to clear up, like asking me what percentage of soybeans is an ambiguous
Jim
question
Bob.
because you can calculate soybeans by different metrics. You can do number of soybeans. You can do soybeans by calories. You can do soybeans by mass.
Today we're going to do soybeans by soybeans, okay?
What does that even mean? Is soybeans by number of soybeans? Is it soybeans?
Are you afraid to discuss soybeans, or are you adamant about going to either calories or mass?
He's scared now. He's scared. He's all alone. He's scared.
I'm explaining to you.
Then discuss it.
He's
Then
scared.
discuss it.
He's freaking out now.
Then
He's going to shut down.
discuss the
He's going to
soybean.
shut down. He's shutting down right now.
Okay, then answer this question and stop playing these gaslighting games. What percent of the soybeans are
He's losing.
processed every year to extract the oil?
He's all alone.
If we hear the word calories or mass from you, then goodbye.
Okay, so I'm
He's shut
explaining what I'm explaining to you is that when you ask
He's
me
going to
this
rage quit because he's all alone.
there are different metrics that scientists use to quantify the percentage.
Today we're talking about soybeans, Abby. How many times do I have to tell you we're talking about soybeans?
He's going to leave.
All right.
He's going to leave.
Hang on.
He's
I'm
gonna
not
act like
sure.
Abby's
I'm
being
not sure
unreasonable.
that this is particularly productive
They're
at
gonna
this
end it.
point.
They're gonna end
I know it's not productive, but I'd like you to at least acknowledge that that the reason it's not productive is because this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like this, clearly he doesn't know that there's any.
You don't know that the soybean industry grows and cultivates soybeans. You want to break it down into calories. Okay, if we're going to break it into calories, then let's also evaluate the factories that are involved in all of the supplements that you're going to require to cover the nutrition that your empty calories will not provide.
What specific supplements would I have to take
You have
that
my
would
permission.
that
Clip
would
it.
essentially cost the same amount of land use as growing cattle? Just out of curiosity.
Land use is not the only metric.
No, but it was the metric that this began with, and because you said that we were talking about killing more animals in order to growing crops, and that would lead to more animal deaths, and that was the hiccup in the vegan position. Now, I think that's been adequately debunked by Avi here. Now, you're making another claim now, saying that we would have to take a boatload of supplements, and that this would, essentially create another issue based around farming. What is it? Explain it, please.
What supplements do you take?
B12, vitamin D.
B12 and vitamin D.
Yeah.
And how about you, Abby?
I take creatine. I take B12, and I take a multivitamin, which does have vitamin D. And I have my cereal is fortified with various vitamins.
Okay. Are you familiar with the train derailment that's occurred in Palestine, Texas, or Palestine, Ohio?
Yeah, but I've heard of it vaguely on the news, but I'm not.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
okay.
From what I've read into it, like the chemical that is actually leached was part of I think it was meant to be in a plastics industry issue.
I'm just not sure how any of this is answering the questions that I've posed.
Do you know how many acres that train derailment and explosion?
Yeah, Garland, so I just want to know if you're
covered?
going to give me the. I just want to know if you're going to give me the evidence for your claim about the cattle or the aridity of the soil, the suitability of the soil for plant versus cattle.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I just want to know, because we're going around in a lot of different places. What I'd like to know is, are you going to provide the evidence for your claim that you made about the suitability of the soil for plants versus cattle?
That'd be nice.
Okay, let me give you a let me see if I can pull up a link for you. Okay.
Great. Now, while you're doing that, I'd like to discuss what I came here to discuss in the beginning, which was to Andrew, because I heard my name called out, and I know you're not upset with me, Andrew, and I love you. Okay, but I heard my name called out to say to not fuck with your show.
Yeah.
I've never fucked with your show, dude.
Not okay. And I clarified, right? Didn't say you fucked with my show.
Right.
But hang on, hear me out, right? All in good fun, but this is the God's honest truth. You used to puppeteer politically provoked like it was a thing, and it was fucking hilarious. Don't get me wrong, it was hilarious. Okay, it was. I was the first one laughing. Just saying, let's not do that over here. I'm very welcoming to you guys, and I'm happy to have you guys on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we haven't, I haven't done that. And also, I wanted to clarify, Vegan Gaze is not really part of the Ask Yourself community, and
No.
Nick is loosely affiliated at best.
Oh, well, the only reason I know him is through Ask Yourself. That's why
No,
I made the association.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just clarifying. He has his own community. So anyway, the main people who are part of the Ask Yourself community, you know that when you approach me for a debate, I've always been very good about clarifying the debate proposition before the
You're
debate.
good.
Yeah, and
you're
most,
good. Ask
debates
Yourself's
don't
good
even-
about doing those two things. Not everybody in that community, any more than everybody in my community, is all that great at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I'm just pointing out that the main players in that community, it's to the point where, and we clarified to the point where most debates don't even end up happening because of it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
because just so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen during the debate. I'm very good about that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so I retract any offense I might have given, right? But I did make the loose association, so my apologies there. That fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough. And listen, I'm happy to come on. Always happy to come on your show. Always happy to, we can.
Always happy to have you. I always feel like we have good back and forth, and it's a lot of fun.
Salad?
So, but anyway, that's why I made the association.
I think
knew
they
that
also
that was a tactic that guy
assumed
was using, and it was frustrating because
that I
I
thought that as
was
well,
approached by
as
him
if I
before
was,
and tried to get some clarification going
fucking
into
around
a
with-
different debate that he was trying to get, and it was the same kind of thing. So I knew how this was going to end up going, and it's frustrating. And I don't like to host those kinds of debates, as you know. So. Really try to pin everything down before the debate starts, so we don't end up wasting our audience's
That's
time.
a fucking lie.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely.
Yeah. So retraction there, but I've always talked with Ask
everything
Yourself
down.
behind the scenes.
That's
And
why he said
you've never been
fucking
anything but
nothing.
nice
Good
to me.
one.
It's just that I have seen you puppeteer one certain show with a certain idiot, and I thought it was hilarious. But I'm just
What the fuck?
Let's make sure we don't do that with the Crucible.
I've never, and which I never have.
All right, fair enough. I
He
believe you.
cited
We're good.
rodents.
But I do
rodent
want to kind of get
studies
back
to
to
show
this.
vegan
Unless you had a
targeting. My
follow-up
And for
there.
those, yeah, and then for those who like, can I post a link to like a debunk thread that I did about this very claim about the whole?
Carney is only found in animal products like
Of
Red Bull
course.
and supplements.
Is I post that in the private chat, or can I post that? Like,
Yeah, put it in the private chat. I'll put it down in the regular chat.
So here's a Twitter thread I did on a whole, actually tracking back where that claim comes from, where the papers are, and I did a whole analysis on that paper, and the difference in standards that they had, that Garland is making his claim that really tracks back to where Garland's claim is coming from, and why that claim doesn't hold. So if anyone wants to look at that analysis that I did, there's the link. And yeah,
I did put it down in the chat for you, and I'll put it down one more time, just to make sure that they have it. Unless Garland has pulled up that info.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, you guys go ahead. I know that this is a bit impromptu. Avi, I can only go on with this call for a little bit longer, so let's see if we can wrap it up. Right?
No, I get it. It wasn't a scheduled debate. I'm happy to hop off whenever.
Yeah. But I do want to see if we can get this cleared up, though. So go ahead.
Okay. Now, what I've done in order to appease my opponents here is I've used their own. What I'm usually approached with is ourworlddata.org. That was that think tank that's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's ourworlddata.org/land use. But I've also included the Merriam-Webster dictionary for the word arable, because that's important, because Bill and Melinda, they try to spin the word arable in a way that's not actually, doesn't actually match the definition of arable. So if we look at the definition of arable, it's land fit for or used for the growing of crops. Okay. Now, most of the land that's used for livestock grazing is on steep inclines, is rocky and arid, and so it's considered non-arable.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. But why? But how does it follow that because it's on steep incline and there's rocks that it's not arable for any crops? Well, okay. The point is that's the point of contention. The point of contention is that these types of lands that are typically considered by or claimed to be not fit for crops actually are fit for crops. There's just a difference in yield, just like with animal agriculture, there's a difference in yield. And the problem here is that difference in threshold yield is applied to plants, but not animals. That's where the whole critique of that study comes from. So you just saying that it's just repeating the claim. It doesn't actually get to the point. So what I'm looking for is evidence for why it's not suitable for crops, but is suitable for animals.
Well, these are UN numbers, okay?
I understand that they're UN numbers. I'm very familiar with that, but those numbers don't actually show what you're trying to claim.
No.
So what I'm looking for is
I can't go to bed till I see blood.
Why it is the case, or how it is the case, that the land is suitable for plants. The land is suitable for animals, but not plants. Ideally, with a yield analysis, an apples to apples comparison yield analysis. Which, by the way, I already know that that's not in the Our World data because I'm already familiar with what you've sent. If you want, I can help you. I can show you where the yield data comes from in what you're trying to get at, because I can track down what your study is. I'm already familiar with it. Or you can keep Googling.
So, guys, and I'm not trying to jump in and save anybody here, but I have some callers in the back line who do want to kind of get in.
And I don't want Garland.
I'm happy to actually schedule this on a particular topic. If you guys would like to do that, I'm happy to have you back.
I'm happy to schedule a debate with Garland.
Okay, so I'm absolutely happy to do that. Same thing with you, Perspective Philosophy. I do appreciate the call in, and we will get that Jim Bob debate taken care of.
Are we getting?
We've had a couple cancellations, I think, on both sides. So appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Have a great night, Avi. Or you want to shout your channel out where everybody can find you real quick?
Yeah, youtube.com/AviMD.
Okay, thanks so much. I do enjoy Avi's Twitter. where we do find some agreement, me and Avi's, he's very pro-natalist, and
Yeah,
I'll take it.
knighting
Right?
so hard.
And I'll see you later too. Perspective philosophy, appreciate it.
All right. Damn. Jesus Christ. Well, that was fucking cringe. I love how Andrew pretended, oh, like, I don't want to have debates like this. I want it to be clear what's going on. And fucking Neutral, like, captured him not doing that. Yikes.
God.
Fucking hell.
Yikes. Big yikes, my guy.
Damn. And people that eat that shit up. Holy crap.
Andrew is like the worst mod ever.
Yeah, damn. Jesus fuck.
Yeah. Were you
Yeah, and
still
Andrew was in the
thinking
room
of going on?
for Nick seeking clarification.
I was surprised you were still willing to go on, given that it was on the Crucible Alley.
I know, I'm a masochist, you know this.
That's true. I know you very well.
I just, Garland's just, he's classic. I just had to take the opportunity. I did want him in a Zoom call, but then he was like, I want to go on the Crucible. I was like, all right. And yeah.
I would have loved to see, like, just Danny, like, rage into the call, screaming at Garland. They're practically mortal enemies at this point. I'm surprised Danny wasn't involved in this in some way.
Yeah, I just... Oh god, I don't know, man. Well, I hope because he contacted me, this is how it all began, saying people have told me to destroy you in a debate. I mean, the fact that he didn't want to answer the first question. I mean, he definitely achieved the goal. I feel very destroyed right now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm not even difficult to...
Well, the Avi Garland debate should be interesting on
Yeah,
the
thank God for
arable
that.
land stuff.
I'm glad that Nick and I have planted that seed.
You're just like, you got as far as you could while planting that seed, and then when everyone got annoyed, you had to get the fuck out of there because they're too stupid to
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
I'm a chronic shit stirrer in this community. I love it. Did it with Demon Mama. I'll do it with... I'll do it with them all. Fuck it. But Andrew's right. My philosophy.
I was a big fan of Garland's. I was a big fan of Garland's mic quality.
For Nicole to go through.
know. The mic difference is so... He can change that, right?
It sounded like he was using a laptop mic from like 2010.
I feel like I might have been rude to them, but, fully deserved. I don't even feel bad. It's Garland Farms, for fuck's sake, and it's Jim Bob, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Embarrassing.
Dude, I was like, what is Jim Bob snorting when he talked about meta
I
ethics? I'm
know.
like, what?
It's so
Oh,
apparent.
okay, I'm back.
Hello.
We were
Come
just
on.
talking about, like, what is Jim Bob smoking when he's talking about meta ethics?
I did accuse him of being on crack, and for that, oops.
Yeah, Andrew is being dishonest there. I just watched back Obvious part after I came back.
Yeah, and he said, oh, I don't like debates like this.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like debates like this where the proposition's not clarified ahead of time. I literally fucking gave my interpretation of the debate proposition right to Garland's face in backstage, and he did not object. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to take from that?
Caught in 4K. Embarrassing. And people
Yeah,
eat it up.
like, what the fuck am I supposed to take from him just staring dumbfounded at his fucking computer screen while I'm strawmanning him? Like, is he really just, like, sitting there while I'm strawmanning him? No. He knows that's what the fucking proposition's about. He just doesn't want to say it.
No.
He got fucking coached ahead of time by Jim Bob saying, like, oh, if they try to tell you that this is a fucking hypocrisy argument, just ignore them, just like refuse to answer the question, because honestly, once he answers that question in any direction, he's fucked, right? If he answers no, then it's just trivial, and I'm not sure why anybody should care. And if he answers yes, then he's got like this massive fucking empirical burden that he knows he can't fucking deal with. So that's why Jim Bob probably primed him ahead of time and like coached him up ahead of time, saying like, listen, don't answer the fucking question. Just obfuscate.
Yeah, and
it,
when he said to fucking Abby asked him a question, he went, "No, it's arbitrary." It's like, it's so clear you've been told to just say that word. You probably don't even know what it means. Like,
yeah.
There
Anybody
was a
watching
time
back at that debate will see that it's...
yeah.
Well, go ahead, Danny.
There was a time when he said he tried to say something when you guys asked about the proposition about it being hypocritical or based on hypocrisy. And he said, no, it's not hypocrisy. It's based on ignorance. He said that, and I was trying to. It was just a confusing frame to put around his proposition. Like I remember you tried to unpack it, Nick, but it still didn't really get anywhere. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I asked him about it. I was like, are you just saying that vegans are uneducated about something? It's like, is that the claim?
Does he go
that
around
you feel that vegans are uneducated about something? He's like, I'm not going to debate that. That's just trivial. Like, I don't give a fuck.
So weird.
And even then, even if you want to debate about it, the proof is on him. It's an empirical burden.
Yeah, it's like, show me that this information is not in the vegans' heads.
The amount of times the words wrapped around or heads not wrapped around was fucking used in that debate too. Like it was like it felt
Yeah,
like
I don't know what the fuck he
20
means
plus
by that or
times.
why it was important. Yeah, it was so
I
stupid.
think he kept saying that vegans don't have their heads wrapped around he kept saying the gargantuan amount of animals that are killed in crops or something. That's he would use that to lend credence to his like ignorant interpretation of his proposition. But
I think he was trying to
that's all I really
subconsciously get
remember.
me to wrap a noose around my fucking neck. This was just tragic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I asked him, it's like, okay, well, why do you think it's important that vegans have this information? And then we got very close because they almost said because it would be inconsistent with their values, basically. You know, vegans believe this and this action is inconsistent. It's like, how are we not talking about hypocrisy?
We were so close.
When
I got
you
blue-balled
guys were
multiple
close,
times.
when you guys were close, I was like sitting there so fucking excited, like finally, where it was like 50 minutes into the fucking exchange, and then somehow, like I think at that point, Jim Bob came in with this fucking arbitrary pre-sub bullshit, and it just threw the entire thing off, and then we were fucked.
I was ready to nut, and
that's
Jim
how I
Bob ruined
remember
it.
The thing is that we did actually, if we follow the definition of hypocrisy, right? Like having making statements or having values or whatever and acting inconsistently with them, right? If we just take that definition, we got that out of them like 3 times, but they just wouldn't sign off on using the word hypocrisy. Like we got the concept out of them like 3 fucking times. Now, oh, that is what you're referring to, an inconsistency or an incontinuity or a discontinuity between vegans performing certain actions and vegans holding certain values. Like that's what you're talking about. And then they just wouldn't sign off on the word hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Ellie, why do you do this to yourself? I already know the answer, but I just want to hear you say it again.
Because I'm a masochist. You know it. No, it's fucking Garland Farms. I was just like, all right, look, be funny, wouldn't it?
Like, I felt like kind of Isaac said that he couldn't really think of anything wrong with the approach that we were taking.
Right.
Like just like he didn't really say that there was much wrong with like what we were doing. In fact, like halfway through, I like picked up my phone and I was like, how do I dislodge this? Like because we were just stuck on the same bullshit. And he was like, do nothing. You're doing fine. Okay.
Yeah, there was a weird idea that like there was something wrong with hearing the proposition, gaining an understanding of the proposition, and then again behind the scenes you even asked for clarification, nothing was given, and then just getting further clarification like that your understanding was accurate. Like that's what happened, and for some reason that was being viewed as like slimy debate tactics when you're literally just fucking trying to get clarification. I was just sitting there like why are you so mad? Like at Garland, he was fucking like losing his shit, and you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to figure out like, is this what you mean? And then you just fucking, he's like, you're not gonna take this debate and turn it around. It's like, I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck you mean, dude. Like that's all that's happening. But yeah, there was a lot of like weird paranoia, and I know he's a conspiracy theorist, so it's in some sense like I'm not a mind reader, but it did seem like his conspiratorial paranoia was like almost coming out in this debate. Like, I don't really know. It was super interesting psychologically just to watch.
Oh, PP wants to come on.
I wish we could have just proceeded onward.
It would have been more fun. Like, it would have been funny to just see him trying to defend the hypocrisy claim.
Yeah, I was so ready. Like, I don't. This is what pissed me off, right? It's supposed to be a debate fucking panel, and they weren't like, look, the burden of proof is on you. So, you like, I don't know why they were like, oh, he's just asking a clarifying question, like, and why it was such a fucking insulting thing to just be like, oh, just to be clear, can I just see if you mean this? Like, I don't understand at all. It just completely shocked me how they went with that route, and Andrew was in on it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any idea what you think Garland would have said had he accepted the hypocrisy interpretation of the prop, and you asked like, okay, what's the argument for that?
Yeah, I mean, like under that condition, he has like this massive empirical burden, right? He has to actually show that like a vegan that their action as opposed to their inaction actually leads to more animal suffering or more animal death, if animal death is even what he's talking about when he says unethical. Like, I don't still know what he's talking about when he says unethical. Like, is that is it unethical in virtue of animal death? Is it unethical in virtue of being able to make more or less cotton candy with one fucking agriculture system over the other? I have no fucking idea what he's talking about, right? It's not clear enough. So, I mean, I probably will just like ask for more clarification before a debate, because yeah, like doing like around and around and around and around with semantic analysis like for an hour and a half straight isn't terribly interesting. But yeah, if he did say like hypocrisy, yeah, it's a critique about hypocrisy, then yeah, he would actually just have to demonstrate that, you know, me buying tofu leads to more suffering than me not buying tofu. That's what he would have to demonstrate, and I don't think he has any data to support that.
Isn't it even
it's
like
a massive empirical burden?
And isn't it for you? Isn't it like rights violations that you care for more than like
Yeah,
suffering?
yeah.
Or,
I mean, like whatever I care
yeah.
about. You can take the vegan society's definition that's concerned with like suffering and exploitation. Show me that there's on that construal of veganism. Show me that there's more suffering and exploitation buying the tofu than not buying the tofu. On my construal of veganism, show me there's more rights violations being committed if I buy the tofu as opposed to not buying the tofu. You know, it just whatever the vegan values are that are in question, just plug them in and ask him to show that there's more of it buying the tofu. Right? And he can't do that because there's no fucking data on that.
Yeah, he made a video response to me one time on crop deaths, and he made some claim about a specific, like, I think it was like more animals dying in animal ag than not, and the source that he showed was just like this little paper on this group of birds that were getting poisoned in this specific area. And
So
like,
you're
Yeah, it
already
doesn't
being-
interact with the claim.
Yeah, I made my response. I'm like, I'm not even sure that he read his source, because the fucking source he put at the same time of his claim, they don't interact whatsoever. So I don't know. Even the stuff with when Avi just now was asking him for the paper on the arable land, I pretty much knew like he has no fucking clue what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And you know, just saying things.
Dude, reading references from these people is like practically playing slots. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, he made a video on taurine once trying to show that vegans needed it, and he was citing like rodent model studies, and I think it was on like cats and rats or something. It was super
He was
funny.
advised by Kevin Bass for that video.
Probably.
Oh God, I would have loved to see Kevin Bass argue with Garland Farms.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, he would have just like fizzled out and just acquiesced and just
He's
gone
like,
along with
"Now
it by the
you're
end.
right."
Yeah, Garland
again-
Farms probably would have convinced him. He'd be like, "Oh shit, you're right. These crop deaths, though."
Did I email you that?
Yeah, I'm.
last time?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Ellie was talking about how she felt her temper, but I would just say, like, relative to Garland's demeanor, like, I think he had the largest proportion of just fucking going crazy and yelling and shit. So I think you're good.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we were both pretty calm.
Yeah, it's just when they start being a cunt, I was just like, yo, do you want to not be a cunt? So, you know, I was going to be chill. I was smiling along, and then they were just being dickheads, and then we got, you know, pretty much ambushed, which is fine, but like weird.
That part where you misspoke and you said and you said you were gonna destroy me on the Crucible, and then he like lost his
freaked-
shit,
and I was
and you were
literally
trying to
correct
you were trying to
myself at the
correct yourself
time.
for like fucking
Garland
20
Farm.
seconds. Yeah, you were like, hold on, and it was like a tantrum being thrown by an 8-year-old, like just fucking losing his shit, and the mom was like, it's okay, like relax.
I
you
know,
what
I
I'm
just
saying?
thought,
Like,
I
that's
thought
what it
you were
reminded
being
me
a
of.
child right now. I just need to be like, all right, it's all right, darling. Jesus.
The part at the end when Jim Bob, like when I asked him why, you know, the vegans in the former half of the proposition should be concerned with the latter half of the proposition, and then he's like, oh, we got a vegan to admit that they don't care about animal death, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and he's like standing there declaring victory, and fucking Garland Farms joins in, and he starts fucking going like, yeah, I won, I got a vegan to say he doesn't care about animal death, and it's like, you realize that I
Yeah.
was asking the question about like vegans generally as they were referred to in your proposition, right? I'm not talking about my position here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then at that point, Nick, you said, you're like, Garland, did I make an argument? And he was like, well, no, you didn't make an argument. And it was just like, it was just so funny because it just fucking defeated everything he just said about you, quote, arguing that you don't care about animal deaths. Just funny.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
And I can't read minds, but I was looking at Garland a lot during the debate when either of you would be saying things,
He
and
looked like he was shitting his
there
pants.
seemed like, well, there just seemed like a lot of times where he just wasn't at all focused on what you guys are actually saying. And you know, when you interact with somebody who you can tell just by looking at them that they're not actually focusing on what you're saying, and they're just getting ready to say the next thing that they want to say. That's the kind of vibe I got from him throughout a lot of the debate, because you guys would be saying stuff and you can see his fucking hand coming up, like he's just ready to talk, and it's like, bro, wait, you haven't even like heard or understood what they're saying, and then what he would say would fully indicate that he was not listening, and he was just
To
getting
be
ready
fair,
to
I did
throw
the
them.
hand thing as well.
Yeah.
I was just as bad.
Like-
I was listening though.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I was a little bit pissed off that all of a sudden, fucking boom, Jim Bob was there.
Yeah,
like I was kind of aggravated about that because
set
I
me
know
off.
the type of like tactics that he uses, and I am perfectly comfortable calling them tactics. They're just like straight out of the fucking pre-supper handbook, and they're complete fucking bullshit. None of them worked. And when they weren't working, he just like devolved into a fucking clown, honking his fucking red nose and doing cartwheels. Yeah, I was really pissed off actually when fucking all of a sudden Jim Bob was there, because like I didn't fucking agree to get
Me neither.
pre-supped. Like I don't give a fuck about what the hell this guy has to say.
What made it more annoying, if I knew they were going to be so make the accusation that we were being slippery, I would have just been like, no, actually, you can't come in.
Like making the accusation that we're the ones being slippery, and then all of a sudden there's this extra fucking guy who's like on the defense side, and he's like even slipperier than the slipperiest fucking cocksucker you can find in the debate space.
And you're smirking while you're bringing him in because you know it's slippery.
Yeah, it's like you're calling us slippery when you're like literally like he's saying, "Oh, shouldn't you have clarified before the debate? That just seems like best practice. Shouldn't you have told us that it was a 2v2 before the debate?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been best practice?"
Yeah. And
like, what the fuck?
Shouldn't you have told us in the back room when you said
Nick,
that?
are you trying to talk about hypocrisy or ignorance right now?
Yeah. Oh my
Hypocrisy.
Oh wow, you answered the question. Good job.
It was actually very difficult. God. Right, I better go.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's like not only. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I better go because PP wants to chat, but it's lovely being on Discord and talking to everybody. But I'm glad everyone else is pissed off with this because this was bullshit.
Yeah, I'm sure you had fun.
Oh, lots of fun. All right, I'll see everybody later. Thank you.
Catch you
See ya.
later.
Bye. Okay, PP. I will bring you in. I kind of need to pee though, PP. And the more I say your name, the more I definitely need to PP. But let me just start an instant meeting. Right, sent it to now. Can you come in and hold the fort while I go to the toilet? Do you mind? Get a bucket and a mop. Bucket and a mop. Alright, PP's gonna come on. Oh my god. I may pee myself, by the way. Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to play this alert. I'm a lesbian.
Garland Farms the lad tipped £1. How many beans per bean?
Thank you, Garland Farms. Sorry, I was just reading out a tip. Hello.
Hello. There we
Hello.
go. How are you doing?
I'm...
Yeah, I know that must have been quite draining, I think, by the end of it. Yeah.
Do you mind if I
Yeah.
go pee while you address my
No,
chat?
no, of course.
Sorry to
Yeah,
ambush
yeah.
you.
I'll talk in
Alright.
the chat,
Okay,
absolutely.
PP's gonna babysit for a second, guys. Okay, one sec.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? My name's Perspective Philosophy. In case you don't know who I am, I'm also a vegan. I was actually just on that stream. I wasn't with the other guy, the other guys. PP to meet me right now. Yes, 20 to 5 in the morning. I'm trying to stay awake. Actually, that's why I'm here. I'm actually trying to sort myself out. I hate philosopher. That's probably that's just the way it works. You should hate we're very hateable people. I am a soybean. I am clearly scared of soybeans. You did well, thank you. I didn't really chime in too much as well. I wanted to chime in a little bit more, but I did say that I would bow out when Avi came. So I didn't even bow out. So I just sort of stayed, and I was just like, "Yeah, Avi, yeah, that's right." And then I just reinforced his point if I could, rather than essentially try to make the debate like me be the guy talking, because he was the main person supposed to be coming on, and they did call out Avi specifically. But I was actually, from what I've actually seen statistically, not just like I know Avi was referencing in terms of caloric production. What I wanted to tie it into was the fact that the majority of the calories come from the meal, or actually in the meal, which is 98% of which is fed to animals. If you want, the thing is that if you were to say like, what I think Avi did a good job of showing is that even if we account for that, the amount of calories produced, the vast majority of the calories are still going to animals. So I think he did a really good job. And like what we'll have to see is that if we look towards animal agriculture and like land use in animal agriculture, the studies suggest that we would save a considerable amount of land if we went towards a plant-based diet. So I kind of just wanted to focus in on that, and then when that was addressed, the point about arable land, my port of call wouldn't have to be, because what Avi did, I thought he did a good job, wouldn't have been to focus on the definition of arable land and so on, but even just talk about the amount of animals that would be required to replace like would need to be grown, and whether there is that much inarable land in the first place. And so what we're talking about is, could we produce let's say 1.5 billion cows worth of calories, which is what we do now, with this apparent difference in land? And if not, then you're going to be using arable land, you're going to be growing plants, so you're going to be allowing them to roam and eat grass, so off land which would have otherwise been used as farmland. So it's a sort of moot point, and say, okay, you could grow a percentage of the amount of cows needed for the calories you're talking about, but not enough that it would be able to replace your need for plant agriculture in order to sustain the population of cows that would be required to actually feed the population. So yeah,
In other words, pain.
yeah, I know it's pain. Yeah,
Oh god. When you knew I was debating
to be
Garland
fair, like
Farms,
I think it was sorry.
how did you think that would go down before you knew it was going to happen?
I've never seen the man before.
Haven't you?
No,
He's
never
like
seen him
well
before.
known in the
No, it
and
was terrible. It was
ah
terrible. I just assumed, like, I mean, he was very boomery. I just assumed he hadn't got a clue what he was talking about from the way he was actually engaging. So he's made a terrible first impression on me. With Jim Bob, I would have,
he's a
you
cunt.
know, I'm not going to say anything bad about Jim Bob.
I will.
because
He's a
I don't
cunt.
wanna- mainly because I have to debate him soon, and I don't want to sort of
I'll do
throw
it
a
for you.
spanner in the
He's
works.
a cunt. Okay. So
Well,
don't worry, you don't need to. It's all right. Cunt.
Well,
Sorry.
we'll see how it goes. I think that I think ultimately, I know that he's I've seen him debate on this before, and I've virulently disagree with the stances I've seen him take. So we'll
Wait,
see how.
do you know, by the way, he wasn't meant to be in the debate?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I saw that. I did have some. I did want to do this, right? Like, look, I think that I think Garland is clearly a moron. I think Jim Bob couldn't defend anything Garland was saying.
Mm.
And I think, Garland's demeanor and his disposition was, he was obfuscating from his intention from the whole time, and I think that
Mhm.
was obvious, right? But I have to ask, why focusing on the pedantics and semantics, right? Specifically the semantics of the question, rather than just say, you need to kill more animals. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the empirics. And I think that, like, and I think this was Nick's approach more than anything. So I wanted to talk to Nick about this. And
Mm.
I'm not saying that his approach was even like logically incorrect, because I don't think there's anything wrong for asking for clarification. And he was clearly obfuscating and unwilling to clarify the proposition. But the issue is that when you end up in a semantics debate, it allows the other party to then go, you see, they've brought it to semantics. Do you know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, I don't think, because the fact that we'd said backstage already, like while Garland was present, Nutrafol said, "Oh yeah, it just sounds like a classic appeal, like from hypocrisy claim." Andrew and Garland said nothing. They didn't say a thing. They were like, "Oh, okay." Garland just said, and there was no problem. So when Nick said that, I don't think he had any assumption it would be semantic. I think he just expected Garland to say, "Oh yeah."
To quickly answer.
Yeah, I don't think it was not semantic at all. It was just kind of like, "Oh, just to be clear."
You just expected he expected clarification.
And it was funny, Jim Bob brought up like, "Oh, when someone orders a coffee, you know what they want." But like, it's kind of funny he brought that up, because if someone was like at the fucking coffee shop and was like, "Oh, just to be clear, you want oat, right?"
Yeah, but what I think should have been done there, if I'm honest, and I think would have been the best debate practice, and I think showing you to be the more reasonable party would simply rephrase what he said back to him and then ask him, "Is this what you are asking me?"
I think
And then
Nick did
if he
that.
says, if he did, I didn't see it. No,
I
that's
think
fair
I think
enough.
he did, like twice maybe. It maybe my check, and like if anyone remembers, it's like, you know what time it is right now. I've been up so long. I think I'm starting to hallucinate.
Oh, I know what you mean. I've been up for ages now myself. Like my sleeping patterns, like just absolutely
I
broke.
fucked it for Garland Farms. Can you believe? That's embarrassing. I should, when he was like, "You should really look hard at yourself." I will be looking hard at myself after this and just being like, what kind of person do I have to be to
Where's
do
my
this?
self-respect?
Where is my
Yeah. Like, well, to be fair, like I've been, I was supposed to debate Jim Bob, right? And I've been meaning to debate him, but he couldn't do any of our time. Like, I tried to ask him to do like normal human hours for someone in Britain,
Mhm.
and there's just no way.
No.
So like, I saw you arguing, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I should be there, and I just started to feel guilt. I was just like, I'm like, I feel like I almost felt like I've just abandoned Team Vegan here, And I think that's why I'm here. I think it's just like, I think I just like a sort of like me moral inclinations have just been that if I didn't chime in or if I didn't do anything, then I've let down the animals or something, you know. It's like, oh, I'm gonna sleep now, fucking murderer, you know. And
You fucking murderer. Well, that's the thing. When Jim Bob came in, I wish, because both Nick and I went, yeah, that's fine. I wish I'd gone, hang on. No, because I went, well, Garland Farm said he didn't need a debate partner. But okay. I should have actually, instead of being polite, just been like, no, you don't get to do that. Because then they were, if I knew they were going to accuse us of being slippery, slimy, deploying tactics.
2v1, yeah. Like that you'd arranged a 2v1.
Yeah,
like,
no.
why?
I have the fucking screenshot of Garland saying, I don't need a debate partner. Like, I have it, like, and I saved it just in fucking case.
So do you both not? Is there I didn't actually catch the point when Jim Bob started arguing with you. What was his argument?
So basically, I can't even fucking remember, to be honest. Everything he was asking was to shift the burden of proof. That's all I can tell you. He was like,
I heard Nick say something about it being like he thought he was going to bring it back to presuppositionalism.
yeah, you're talking to the sleep deprived. But,
oh no, sorry.
Oh no, he was basically trying to ask what the foundational belief was for Nick or something like that, and we were like, whoa, why? Like, he kept trying to, like, before we'd even got it addressed whether or not it wasn't an argument from hypocrisy, like, Jim Bob kept trying to ask us questions and get us to defend ourselves.
Yeah, he's trying. I did see that. I think he was just trying to support Garland and
not only support, but like get him out of the fucking sewage.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think as well, the issue that Nick did there was to not accept that. He's like, if he had just went, of course vegans care about animals. Like if he had just said, yes, of course we do, but I'm asking a question as to why any of this matters in relation to the proposition, which is why I'm asking for clarification. You know what I mean? Rather than obfuscate. And I do think it was like, and I'm not saying that Nick did a terrible job or anything like that. And I certainly appreciate everyone trying to represent veganism. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think he did a bad job or anything. And I do think that the position was clearly stronger, and Garland hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. But the issue is to the audience that goes that they're almost unwilling to accept that vegan. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost as if we're as if the other side isn't willing to accept the sort of logical baggage that is necessitated from the vegan position, which I think could have been avoided, because that's exactly what essentially Garland looked like, as if he wasn't willing to accept the baggage of the calling us hypocrites. He's not willing to accept that, and then so I think he looked unreasonable, and I think that they essentially try to double that back on you, and I think it could have been quickly overcome with just like, of course I care about animals. What I'm asking is why that matters for the question that you're proposing.
Oh, Nick did say that. He said, oh yeah, so you think vegans do this, but why should vegans consider like the second part of the proposition? So that was, I think he said that like 3 times, and I think I said it a couple of times as well, like, why should we care? And Nick literally said, yeah, say if we do kill these animals, say there are deaths, why should we care? I think we maybe said it 10 times.
No, but that's that's I think part of like the problem in some respects, because I think you've got to go, not that, why should we care? It's like, of course you care, but why this means that the vegan position in relation to crop deaths is more unethical.
That's what we meant though. Like every time we were saying that, we were following up by being like,
they were able to twist that into you're a vegan who doesn't give a fuck about animals.
To be honest, at the end of the day, I didn't expect them to be so manipulative. Like I
Oh,
wasn't
you should
prepared for some
always.
gaslighting.
Oh,
Like
you
it's
can't. No, this is online. They're all everyone's
I woke
evil.
up in a good mood today, assuming the best of people. Okay, that I was reading about like angels of our nature. I was like thinking, oh, you know, like things are looking up in life. But yeah, I should have just been ready for manipulation.
No, you got to remember is that people are inherently good, but everyone on the internet is not a person. They're actually dog. Like then there is no human on online. They've all become like decrepit form, like
I feel the same
shadows of
online.
themselves.
Am I just like, is it my autism? Like where I'm just like, I'm like, hi, it's me. And it's actually me, or like maybe the 5 me's that exist. Is that is that me being silly?
I think no. I think there's something in that. I think that like obviously, I think that the like second nature, and this is the point. Like I think that where we occupy in terms of like architecture, like Foucault did a good job in showing like the effect of, let's say, like architecture on behavior. And not just architecture, but like modes and forms of life in relation to that architecture. So like certain rooms and certain buildings make us feel a certain way because we expect a certain form of behavior when we occupy those rooms. And one of the things I was actually going to do as a PhD at one point was to talk about cyber architecture and how that has the same effect on our behavior online, and how we're in a certain situation. For example, I think a lot of people, not to bring up Avi and Ask Yourself and all that, but their server has a certain culture to it, for example. And if you look, there is a certain way of being. If you look at the Crucible, there's a certain culture there. If you look at my server, there's a certain culture there. And if you look, your community will have its own sort of microcosm. Is that the right word? Of
Smelly culture.
yeah, it'll have its own like sort of cultural paradigm. And I think that you become a certain self in relation to those norms and conventions in order to actualize a sort of what you perceive to be the most rational end in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I don't know, man. I feel like it was kind of, I agree with other people that it was kind of clear that they were playing a game. I don't know, maybe like I'm just sensitive to what people say and throw at you out of nowhere when they're like doing that very thing. But
What you mean? Oh, I think that what was very clear is the opposition were simply trying to engage in a slanging match. And I think you just made that very clear, 100%. And I do think that you came across as the more reasonable, well thought out position in it. But the only reason I'm sort of giving criticism anyway, like sort of critique, is just sort of constructively.
Oh
You
no,
know
it's
what I mean?
good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when I'll go on the Crucible again, but like I might get into these discussions and I'd be like, hang on, I know what's happening here.
Well, yeah, I think it, to be honest, it is but the as you say, like with going on the Crucible, I think you probably knew you
Yeah,
should have known.
I knew.
You should have known.
Oh, I knew
what was going to happen.
I didn't think they threw me a curveball when they brought someone on without our consent. I just thought it was going to be like Andrew was basically the second person.
Yeah, I mean, since it's a bias mod.
But then it ended up being 3 people. That's why I wanted at least one person with me if I went on the Crucible, because I knew what they were like. And I literally said that in the comments thread to Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it is. I think that Andrew is biased. Like, well, he's horrifically biased. I mean, that's obvious, right? Like, like afterwards, he was like, I knew what these fuckers were gonna do, so this is why I did this. That kind of thing. He's actually even he's being overt about him engaging in tactics in order to provide a sort of advantage, or what he perceived. And it might be that he perceives that you're attacking him, and so that you're going to be, manipulative and so on. But that kind of hypervigilance maybe even is what it makes him sort of overactively defending himself. He's actually an aggressive, he's like, he's stop attacking me as he invades a foreign country.
Oh wait, I've got a dissenter in the chats. Apparently I'm scarred. Oh yeah, like I'm so. How will I recover, PP? Honestly, this was just. God, I'm scarred.
Well, I think why don't we? I was going to say you should just do a 2v2 with me. We'll do it again. And this time, we'll make it overt as to what will go on.
Does
I
that
don't
mean
know
I have
whether it should be
to?
with Farmer with Garland Farms, because I really don't think. I think you could really probably replace his brain with a soybean, and it would
Or a
would
pecan?
probably
Pecan?
yeah, and there's probably about the same the same sort of density. Like only 7% of it will be used for humans.
I take it back, Jake, in the chat. It's just a nut hugger of Garland Farms because apparently you're afraid of Garland Farms as well. The shit people.
I honestly, I think, I honestly think that the
Oh
man,
my
like,
god, the
no
code.
offense, look, I look if he's got his fans and stuff, right? Like, I'm just gonna be clear. I don't think that he could address almost anything Avi said. I think that he even from the back end, PC, that other guy, that criticized him before, like, that was nothing to do with Team Vegan or anything, right? He was like, look, he called you a load of shit, but then he was like, Garland, why didn't you just accept that you were calling them hypocrites?
Oh, was that who was in the chat? I thought PC. It was Andrew, like like manning the P. Like I got confused.
No. So he's like a different guy, yeah.
Ah, okay.
And then he was in the back of the chat when me and Avi were in, and he's like, Garland, just accept that the fucking got you. And he's like, just accept it, man. And it's like, so it's not like, I'm not being biased here when I say that Garland started panicking.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was
Especially when
obvious.
Jim Bob left, like,
Yeah,
and it was just you and Avi with him. He like started being like, "This is over. If you don't do this, this is over." I was like, I was just like, he's panicking now. He's panicking. He's shutting down.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I understand it can be intimidating when it's like a 2v1 and stuff like that. But I mean, that's what he's agreed to in the first place, like that. But it was, I think, with what was most atrocious with the Avi conversation is when you're making an empirical claim, and you ask for the source of that claim, and you can't give a general direction. That was one of the points. I'm like, he's not asking for a direct link. He's not even asking he's not asking for a link to the paper.
Yeah.
He's not asking for the title. He's asking for he's asking for a general idea right now of where you've heard this. What specific paper? Like, where did you read it, man? Like, what could I type in to find this paper and say, is this the paper you're talking about? And he couldn't do it.
I
So he's
think
just like,
the entire thing was just a fabrication, like, of how like Garland can just ride it out without actually addressing it. The whole thing just stank of it. And I did call Jim Bob a cunt. Oops.
nah, that's naughty. That you shouldn't have done. Like, what was I gonna
It was being a
with just
cunt,
Jake
and I
on
was-
the chat? I think that it's with Garland. I don't think, like, and I think this is the point. Don't look at it like who's squashed or who's this or that, the other, in terms of, like, look at towards the logical performance, like the argument that they've provided. He didn't support his empirical claims. He couldn't support the rationale of his position, and he couldn't rebuke criticism. So his argument failed. Divorce the man from the position and say, okay, look, even if you like Garland, like, look, his position didn't hold up to critique in this instance.
And this is the thing, he was saying, like, this all began because he said, oh, people were telling me to destroy you in a debate. So it's like, well, like, you had a plan to destroy me in a debate. He was like, oh no, I didn't say that. That was what people were saying. It's just like, mate, like, there's a reason you said that. It's like, and then he didn't want to admit that it is, an appeal from hypocrisy. An argument from hypocrisy. He like didn't want to admit that, but he kept like alluding to how it would be hypocritical for a vegan to like sign off on these things.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, if you've got to, like, even if
the dishonesty is.
Yeah, I do think that there was, it was obfuscation more than anything. He was unwilling. He's very almost very scared to answer anything. as if answering a question would put him on the back foot.
Which
And
it absolutely
Jake,
would in
Jake
legal.
actually, like, look, like, rather than me, go through all this with you, check out there's a channel called Earthland Ed, and he actually goes into the whole myth and like breaks down the myth on the use of animals in order to prevent soil erosion and maintain soil. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the need for or the use of fertilizers, okay, but once you realize that we could cut down soil, cut down farmland as a whole, it starts to make more sense when you realize that the majority of farmland is being used to feed the animals which are fertilizing it, and that this is causing a lot of pollution and a lot of issues in general. And that's just from the fertilizers. If just and even the runoff from things like slaughterhouses, with which is essentially smashing nitrogen into the ecosystem where it just doesn't need to be, which is causing ocean dead zones and the like. So look, just go and check it out, and maybe educate yourself on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I shouldn't even address him. He's just sniffing like the copium really hard,
Yeah, but I think it's good to like even address
the copium. Yeah.
address the like the like the sort of maybe the points in which people the like, even if people aren't, as I say, like coping so hard as much as him, they might have the same concerns.
Yeah.
And at least you can point them towards like, okay, this is a good source, a good resource. Go and check it out.
And we wanted to do that, but we weren't even given.
Oh,
the
yous were. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
No. But yeah, like when Avi came in, he was saying the things that Nick was gonna get onto if like we got past the first like, oh, just to clarify, like as we just said in the fucking like back room, and yeah, it was just fucking pain. But PP, I'm gonna have to wrap it up in a little bit. So as much as I'd like to like have you on even longer.
Oh no, it's okay.
But yeah, if there was anything extra you wanted to say before you go, then
really just that maybe we should book a 2v2 for some of the people on the Crucible, because if they want a 2v2, I'm probably gonna need a part of that anyway. So if you be game, that'd be cool.
If it's not 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I know I'm having the same issue where they want it to be really late. I don't know why it has to be really late for them. It just seems that they want it to be
Also,
really late.
it's just like towards the end there, just as Nick left, I left like a minute later, and then Andrew was like kind of pretending, I think, that, oh no, I've not got a problem with you, like blah blah blah. And it's just like he literally he said to Avi, oh, I don't want arguments that happen like this. It's like, if that were true, you would have like in the back room, like, you know what I mean, like there would have been a difference in the behavior. And yeah, I don't know why he got so caught up on someone just like literally saying, oh, just do you mean this? Like they hadn't even fucking Garland Farms and Nick didn't speak once until this very moment, until the back room.
Yeah, well, I think that like what I think was very telling was his disposition afterwards. So, like I think you can say, you can Andrews.
Oh, Andrew.
After the debate had ended, he was explaining how it was all kind of concocted from him anyway. The sort of that it was inviting Jim Bob, and then and that he had that he thought that you were going to be playing games and shit like that, and I think it shows that an inherent distrust from one side that's led to a kind of a rebuke of an attack that wasn't.
It's like every like fucking 80% of wars that happen. You might stab my wife, so I'm just gonna fucking go to war with
paranoia.
you. Yeah,
paranoia.
That's what I said. I said to Garland, "You paranoid," but
I said that to him as well. Actually, I said that. I was like, you say, because he started before Avi and me had even spoke or anything. He started saying that we're gonna gaslight him. It's like, whoa, what the fuck, man? Like, I didn't even.
It's because he said that we were gaslighting, and I was gonna say, Andrew, he did say like during the debate, he said, oh, well, I could tell, like, when you brought Nick on here and he's the Ask Yourself crew, and oh, I've looked at your stuff, you're not good with philosophy. So I said I knew that, like, it was going to go down this route. I was like, in that, like, it's true, I'm not the best at philosophy. I'm all right, but I'm not like, you know. But he didn't even
don't-
need to say that.
I don't think he was talking about you. I think he was talking
No,
about.
he was
I think
talking about he was talking about me.
I thought he was. I thought when he was saying like you're not the best at philosophy, I think he was talking about. He was talking about Garland.
No, he was talking to me.
No, because I thought the whole thing was to say that you're not good at philosophy, so that's why I brought Jim Bob on.
No, maybe because I'm tired, but I'm pretty sure he said that about because he could tell I brought no, he didn't, because he'd said that I brought on Nick to do some sort of game or something afterwards. So I think it was directed right at me because he said
Yeah,
my
but
name.
then yeah, so he thought that well, what he said was that Nick was part of the Ask Yourself crew and that they were fucking with his stream, which is again kind of paranoid. And then you know, Avi came
He
on
was
and
he
said,
was
"I've
talking
never
about me. Yeah.
Really?
You know,
got the
I promise
impression-
I would bet money that he said it, because I went, oh, like, yeah, I'm not good at philosophy, and like no wonder I brought Nick in. He was talking about me.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
hear that
no,
one.
yeah,
I thought you meant. I thought I heard the one when he was saying that he said that a similar thing to Garland, saying that's why he brought
yeah,
Jim Bob on.
that was separate. Yeah, he told me I
right.
wasn't good at philosophy, in his opinion, out of nowhere. I was like, wow, that's a weird mod.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
whispering because it's 5 o'clock in the morning and my housemate's here.
Andrew. Oh, sorry. I'll let you go on that as well. Andrew's terrible at philosophy. So,
Yeah.
as someone who does philosophy,
I think I'm
Andrew's
better at
really
philosophy
bad.
than him.
Yeah, like you know, you haven't you got the course? You can always, you know.
I've been listening to your course, and I'm reading Aristotle still.
I know you were reading Aristotle as well. It's like based as fuck.
Yeah.
Never gonna get better. No one's got philosophy as good as Aristotle. If you can get Aristotle under your belt, like there is no better philosopher I think to have in your utility belt, if you will. It's
Yeah,
just so good.
I'm
But
getting
I think you're
through it.
fine at philosophy anyway. You know what I mean? I don't think that you have any real like major hiccups or anything. And I think that's just I don't know. He's just a bit of a dick. So
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
the
take it
thing.
to heart.
It was like he just had a jab at me, and it's like, do I really want to fucking go back to you, prick? But like, if I have to, I have to.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go anyway
Thank
because you need to peace out. So,
Yeah.
but it was nice chatting to you, and thanks for taking the time to have us on.
Thank you, Poopy. I will speak to you very soon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Pee-pee. Pee-pee in the chat.
What a
ding dong.
Thank you, rude boy Jim. Had some very rude Jims today. Holy shit. Sorry if the whispering has been off-putting. It's just, yeah, my poor housemate.
I said I'm a lesbian.
CD Activism, the lad tipped £1. Donating only £1, not got enough soybeans for channel membership, spent on going to my first hour protest and WTF outreach yesterday, and lots of us knew you Harry Potter. Should a new VGZ VGF?
Shouldn't a new VGs versus VGF is too good to be true. True, it never happened, did it? You have 7k soybeans, and Garland Farms and JB suck 12 soybeans of my... And it stops there. Thank you, CTA Activism. Oh, God.
I said I'm a lesbian.
Vaina Moinen the lad tipped £5. No message, just appreciation.
Thank you, Vaina Moynham, and thank you for gifting those subs to other people. And yeah, I'm so sorry about the ASMR today. I wish I could speak normally. Cringe, isn't it? Alright, well, with that, thank you so much to everybody who tipped today. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this installment of me providing you with that vegan content. I do hope you're well. And until next time, salads, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.